Geekay looking for a strong start coming out here on Lair, but it's not going to be easy because guess what? Virtus.pro great on Lair as well. They are turning into one of those teams, and what a swing it's been for them. They used to, map pool was the problem for Virtus.pro last year, and it is now getting to a point whereby there are very few places that you can take them that they struggle with, but Chalet is one, so that's something for Geekay at least.
Both teams have very much played into the same approach in the map ban, which is banning away their own weaknesses, their own permabans, and acknowledging the other side will probably pick away their 7th least preferred map. In this case, that's exactly what has happened, and I think it's going to be a very interesting showdown. You know, Geekay 0-2 on Lair. When you look at Chalet, it's 0-3 for Virtus.pro. So we're going to have to see something special coming out on the opposite picks map, I think, in order to see something turn around. We'll see how things shape up now. We've got our bans over and done with. I think it's fair to say many today expect to see VP coming out on top. They've been phenomenal this stage. I guess the upside is, obviously, you saw Al Conti saying can't wait to see more of the teams from Geekay making it to EWC. There is also that game against Rebels coming up if they do get themselves knocked down to that lower bracket, where I think it's fair to say I'd favour either of these two teams to make it through.
Let's get into it then. Bans have come in. Double electric ban for Virtus.pro, looking to speed up that breaching. We've talked about it a lot. Geekay on the defense, they will take away 2 of the shields, so it looks like the commitment is coming in for them to get rid of those shields. We'd expect to see maybe Blitz as that 3rd ban. We'll see after round 3, but for now, Monty and Blackbeard taken away. No shield. I was going to say no shield presence, and then I looked down and Nako is right there on the Blitz. So yeah, something Virtus.pro will use for the first 3 rounds whilst available, at least, I think.
Absolutely. Dan's kicking it off on the Carly now. I joked about this the other day, actually. I saw Virtus.pro put something out on social media in reference to other jokes that have been floating around, basically saying, oh, that's it, you know, the top liked thing is what we'll do each play day. You guys can choose the strat. And I put a tweet out basically saying, right, Dan, play Carly only. Pasha, scream after every single round win. Rorik, don't play ranked on play days. As he said in his interview a few weeks ago, he realised that the key to a good performance for him is to not play ranked before he gets into comp, which is very interesting. But there's various things about it, and the fact that we've got Dan jumping onto Carly immediately in round 1, I'm somewhat optimistic.
Let's see how he uses the sniper scope. It is going to be initially taking out that barricade and just looking to take away the keeper barricades, pressure into ops. So that's going to be Virtus.pro looking to get themselves on in there to begin with. Main stairs is not going to be a possibility for them. We see the Grim Bees coming in, I would guess from bathroom window into that position for now. But yeah, ops is, I think, going to be gained very, very soon by Virtus.pro. They're moving really quickly here.
Yeah, for now, we've got pressure on towards Rocket, understandably. C4 at the ready. Rorik doing what he can, and he wins out with that shotgun. Can't directly push on forward because of the barbed wire in front of him, but he's got done what he needs to. And now if he needs to, he can go back to being a bit of a nuisance from below. Traps galore, yeah, shotguns coming out, you name it. But Sark's downstairs is unchecked and takes away the thermite.
Just going to be moving through Nako on that blitz, looking to pressure into sight. Virtus.pro doing some really good work in terms of the utility here. Geekay keeping themselves level for man count at least, but once they lose these couple of keeper barricades inside of sight, if Virtus.pro are able to clear those out, then they could be in some real trouble. Rorik underneath is going to be looking to deal with part of that problem as well, I would imagine. And you can see he is now starting to open up the floor behind, so they don't necessarily need to take the keeper barricade itself. You just take the area that this army would be able to play on.
Like you say, so it's time to bounce up here. They need to get a pick, they need to get something moving. They've managed to just get themselves into the side doors, and Impact comes over, double on towards Nako. It goes low, and Dan taken down by Sarks. That is such a critical kill, because really, he was the air quotes long-range protector for the rest of his team. Rorik, though, steps up, finds one more for himself, switching over to that Vendetta to do a bit of work. And I tell you what, Tim, I can tell you ain't been playing ranked today. He's 2-0 to start.
Sometimes, as you say, maybe just gets him in the wrong mindset. Nako is going to try and put that diffuser down. He doesn't get away with it, though, because the cover isn't there. Pasha gets the kill late, but with 12 seconds left to go, it could cause a problem. Pasha, low health. Grube, full health, and looking to move through side. Just gets snagged on the rotate, and that is going to allow the diffuser to go down. But 2 kills to be found. This is very, very possible for Geekay. Manages to get one. Pasha has to hold on, and Grube has the HP advantage, but not any longer as Pasha manages to land a couple of bullets and gets the critical one into the head of Grube, and that is going to be round 1 going to Virtus.pro.
I was a little bit nervy towards the end there. I was really nervous for a time. They'd actually managed to get inside site and get that diffuser down, given they had 3 players staring at them, especially once we've seen Dan fall down the Carly. I thought, wow, they've lost a lot of capability here, but they hold on firm and play excellently in towards getting the diffuser down. MVP of the round for me. I spoke about him twice in this exact same spot, getting 2 kills. Rorik, even with starts off towards the side, getting that 3v4, Rorik still kept his attention focused on what was going on upstairs, making use of the shotgun, making use of the Vendetta, doing a lot in terms of pressure, and ultimately being the one that gets the diffuser down as well. But the hero of the moment, of course, with Pasha with that closing kill and a 3K.
Let's go, guys.
See what it means to them there straight away on round 1. The shouts, the screams, the celebrations coming through for Virtus.pro. They have looked phenomenal so far this stage. Only loss coming to G2, and you'd have to back them to be the favourites here to get themselves through to EWC at first try. But we would have said the same, I think, for G2 coming into that first matchup, and Falcons showing, I won't say that anything is possible. You know, Falcons were always capable of getting the win there, but it's definitely been a bit more of a roller coaster ride for them in stage 1. And as it is, they are the first, although the lowest placed upper bracket team, they were the first ones to qualify to the Esports World Cup. So let's see if Geekay can follow in their footsteps. Round 2 is going to be Virtus.pro on the attack for a little while longer yet. Rorik is the one I'm looking at on that. Glass needs to be dealt with. Always a tough one. No Warden on side for Geekay, so they're going to have to find another way of coping with the pressure that will come from those smokes being deployed.
Yeah, and Rene got rid of some more of that pressure from Sarks. He was the one downstairs previously, got himself a couple of kills, one with the C4, being a little bit troublesome. This time around doing the same, but on the reverse angle, so playing it from above. We've already spoken a lot today around what we saw in our previous series, a lot of Solus, a lot of the Pulse, just feeding information to players that are on different floors and letting them know exactly where they need to be reacting and what they're doing. Leak it back, especially on Consulate, doing a lot of work with that Pulse to keep his team informed as to where the push is coming from G2 at all times. So they can either choose to ignore him, or try and hunt him down and kill him, but even that in itself might not be the easiest thing to do. At least got the right idea. Do they ignore? Tell you what, I was going to say, if they ignore that for too long, you might step out, and Pasha taking a lick of damage as he does so.
Geekay certainly setting themselves up in this round a little bit better than last time, I think. Slightly more secure from their point of view and not taking that early damage, losing that map control too early, whereas Ops last time, for example, in round 1, was taken off them very, very quickly. So I like this. They are standing firm, and Yoga manages to get himself the opening kill. Nitro onto the blitz, and you couldn't really ask for better. Maybe the glass, but the shield being off the board is going to be brilliant for them.
Absolutely. Not a comfortable spot to be in, and this is like almost, I don't want to point back to old VP, it's like a habit thing, because this is such a different team now with the 3 different members they have on side, but it used to be that problem of it was a bit of a one-track mind at times, and they would get sideswiped by teams that were looking to constantly give them bother. I don't want to see them fall into that in this round and sort of get a little bit too focused on the objective. Be willing to go and challenge those that are around the map, and sure enough, they've got a down on towards Starks. It's not a kill, but at least it's enough to ease a bit of pressure for now as Groovy also falls. It's looking much better.
Rorik just going to be holding the angles from the hatches. Like you say, Sark's almost certainly uncollectible at this point, as Geekay have to focus on the threat at hand. Dan about to bring the diffuser into position to put it down, and will begin to do so. Geekay have to fight forward here, manage to find the angle. I'm not sure that they're aware of the position just on the opposite side from Rorik there, but he manages to get a huge double. The rest comes in, and Virtus.pro just collapse beautifully there. For a second, you thought that that might just all go wrong for them as Dan took the blast from the shotgun, but they get the job done. Beautiful stuff.
Rorik was just zooming, wasn't he? Ring around the roses there. 1 second you're challenging him head on, the next he's behind you and shooting you in the back. Like, what? Absolutely crazy. But it gets in the second round for sure. Even though it was a better start, I thought, from the other side, you know, especially with the Solus looking to give a little bit of challenge, cause a little bit of bother. Certainly wasn't a bad start from Geekay, but Virtus.pro, once they got moving, just a little bit too hard to slow down, I'm afraid. Up 2-0 then. We'll see if they can finally, Geekay this is, get themselves on the board in round 3.
I think it's likely to be, if he gets that first shot there onto Rorik, maybe the round goes a little bit differently, but Rorik just played ring around the roses with him, got round the opposite side and closed it out. And yeah, Virtus.pro, they're going to be very difficult, like you say, to stop once they get started. So Geekay, I think, needs to be finding round 3 here, otherwise it could be a very slippery slope on Leia. Like you said, the real problem is, because we're saying for Geekay, they really need to get this done in 2. They don't want to go to Virtus.pro's Fortress. It's going to be very, very tough because they're now 2 rounds down. They're getting pushed around on Lair. They could be confident for Chalet all they want, but there's every chance that Chalet's not going to be enough.
Yeah. That's why I sort of said it has to be a 2-0 or bust. See how it rolls forward. For now, in this round, I'm looking towards what feels like a very classically VP lineup. All pointing in towards the fact they've got the Thatcher, they've got the Glaz on side, and also have the sense of Naqo here. That is a lot of power for hitting a go-to site with. No doubt with the Thatcher on side, it's a guarantee they can get this wall opened up and then start piling in the pressure. That is, of course, assuming they go for default wall, but I don't know why you bring a Thermite and a Thatcher if you weren't trying to make use of that. So it's meant to be down there relatively soon, if not right now. There we go.
Yep, wall is going to be breached, so that's at least step 1. But if we have a look at that top floor, we've got 4 of Geekay up there. Yupa, Yoga, Sarks, and Ask, all tasked with holding onto it. Gruby will be the sole occupant of the site as it stands. We've seen this bomb before. We know how it goes. Virtus.pro will try and create some space inside a site using those sense light screens, particularly also the smokes that have been brought along not only by Pasha but by Skies as well. That is a huge loss of utility though. Grube with a massive kill from inside a site. Virtus.pro might struggle to clear top floor out now that they're short of numbers as well. Geekay, it's early, but could well have won themselves around with that opening kill onto the sense.
Well, you say that as he peeks around here and Pasha gets one more. You really kind of need the sense to execute here into this doorway to protect yourself from the above, and even then it's quite risky. I've seen many teams just try and make it happen, then someone above's like, oh yeah, easy free kill, no problem. So I think Virtus.pro have got themselves a challenge here, either rotate and trying to get the other side instead, which is what they're now trying to do, or you send someone top upstairs to try and challenge on towards these guys up here, but given there are 2 or 3 of them, you're asking for a world of hurt.
Thatcher will be deployed. Toxic Babe canister finishes off Pasha. That's going to be the glass off the board. 4 versus 3 now. 50 seconds left to go. Skies cannot find the space as of yet to put the diffuser down.
I like this.
I always love that plays when you're looking at, you know, looking for Soulish, using it like that. Stop that scanner being used. Going to try to put the plant down. Is it enough though, Des? Is it enough?
He's got an impact. Oh, just in time they open the floor, but get rid of Skies as well. They tried a really smart game here, Virtus.pro, but Geekay, they went back to the old-fashioned way of just using good old explosives to open the floor up instead. Going to stick it here, though. Now surely Ask is going to say they must have eyes on him. Yoga's got himself a couple of kills down through the floor. 2 comes across for down, but Yog is there for the swing, makes it a 4K in the round. A great round to hold on for Geekay. Virtus.pro with some cute ideas, just didn't quite come to fruition.
Yeah, so the idea of dealing with the Soulless in the way that they did, I don't think was a bad idea at all. The problem is that you've still got a shotgun up there, and so it's like going from kind of digital to analog, isn't it? Like, you've got your digital solution, which is Soulless. Use the scanner, see exactly where the plant's going down and pinpoint it. But if that fails, you've still got the redundancy of your shotguns up there. So you just start blasting the floor open. We've got a rough idea of where you are, so we're just going to blast it open until we get a view onto you. It's not just a complete solution, and I think that's what Virtus.pro were seeing it as. Let's use the Thatcher, we'll block out the Soulless scanner, we get the diffuser down, no problem. But they hadn't thought about that shotgun being up there and just the possibility of, you know, denying without the scanner. And so, yeah, look, Virtus.pro are the latest in a long line of teams to suffer when trying to put a plant down on that site without getting top floor control. It's as simple as that.
And I can imagine this is only going to get harder to deal with as well, because things like the glass being taken away, it just means you'll be playing more tricky setups on the site itself that won't be so easy to brute force your way with. Drop down a bunch of smokes, have the glass pop off. That's no longer really an option. And even then, Ask now running around onto the warden at the same time. They've always got options to deal with whatever it feels Virtus.pro might throw at them. I do wonder if maybe here we start to see a bit of a bounce back from the side of Geekay, because after them first 2 rounds, it did look very decisively as a big lean in towards Virtus.pro. And maybe now we start to see a bit of a confidence build, the same as we saw between G2 and Falcons. Once Falcons got a couple of rounds on side, that's when we saw G2 really start to grow in confidence during one of those maps. So don't write anyone off just yet, but I think this is far from over for Geekay.
Loading new mag.
Bathroom window immediately open there, which makes main stairs that little bit trickier to hold on to. We saw the Grim Bees being fired in there earlier, and then the pressure mounted to bottom main stairs, and they weren't able to keep a hold of it. Virtus.pro Pasha does have Grim, so I think we will see kind of a similar there. This time, they are going to deal with the barbed wire. It was a little bit of a sticking point for them last time around. We saw the player down. They had to use a nade, Rorick, to get in there and finalise that kill because they couldn't push forward because of the barbed wire. That won't be the case this time. And relying once again, Nequo should enjoy the use of the blitz, given that it has now been left on the board. The glass being taken away, we expected to maybe see the commitment to the shields, but they've allowed Nequo to continue his 0-3, so I think they're looking at that and thinking, do you know what? It's just not had too big an impact on us.
High risk, high reward, isn't it, as well, playing the shield, especially a blitz. You want to be up in people's faces and being aggressive. If you haven't thrown everything out, you don't know where potential angles are watching you from, or if the player in front of you has a way to deal with you, well, you'll find yourself being 0-4 if it carries on at this pace. What he is good for, though, of course, is taking some early ground control. They've got rid of Ops here inside 90 seconds or so. Still work to do with. They're also clearing out main, as you just saw a second ago. The fire and rocket stairs burning on through as Jupa's Goyo canisters slowly shoot their way out. It's really not a drastic change from what we saw last time round for Virtus.pro, to be fair. They're thinking, again, why, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
And the thing is, it is such a simple attack. Get control of Ops, open the wall into mask rather than doing the external, which is what they're going to do now. And that opens up your plant spot. This will force the having to open the external to force the Azami away. That's going to push Grube back behind desk now. So it's all up to the Tachanka to try and keep them out of this. They need a little bit of patience here, Virtus.pro, because it's about time to get Skies rotated around. You can't try that one. It's a Warden. Need to be careful because the diffuser is in the hands of Nequo. Rorick does manage to find Ask. 5 versus 4, but that's diffuser down as Yoga manages to find Nequo.
Oh, Starks really wants something here, but won't quite find it. That's unfortunate. Sees the man above him, but just misses the cross. No, the timing is so unfortunate. But it's a 4v3 now upstairs in Virtus.pro. Last 20. Pasha almost being finished off, but no. Remains standing for now. That diffuser has to go down somewhere, though, Tim.
Problem is, they've got somebody underneath with shotgun. He doesn't know exactly where it's going down. Yoga manages to pick up the kill onto Skies, but the diffuser will be successfully planted. The Tachanka prioritizing kills over plant denial might just be costly in this round as Rorick manages to find one whilst escaping for the post plant. It is going to now be 2 versus 3. Yoga low health on the Tachanka as well. TCSG just trying to fight at distance here for Yupo. He's aware of 1 in Ops, but there were 2. Pasha manages to find his kill. 1 versus 3. The Tachanka steps out. Pasha says, thank you very much. Picks up another round, and Virtus.pro looking pretty comfortable at 3-1.
They are, yeah. Like, again, just a really good attack and not a whole lot changed from last time. On both sides, arguably. You know, again, we had Starks playing on the downstairs, hunted down by Rorick in the end, same as he was back in the very first round. Yeah, main stairs control, getting yourself in towards Ops, getting control of Mez, opening up that wall. Arguably, the biggest difference was this play you've just seen on screen there, and we had the Blitz trying to stab them into towards the back and disrupt them. But otherwise, Virtus.pro made exactly the same style of attack work as last time around. So Geekay struggling there to adapt a little bit. Or maybe it's just really hard to deal with Virtus.pro, Tim, because, again, they're one of our best European teams.
They're just, yeah, they're really hard to keep contained. We know this. So going back down to basement, it's going to be the site that we saw back in round 2. Virtus.pro got the win down here. There's only that third choice site of bunks and briefing that Geekay have been able to hold on to successfully. And I think Virtus.pro will probably learn their lesson when they attack that site again and make sure that they prioritise that top floor control. I hope they do, at least anyway, because that's where Geekay won it from and where they will win it from again if given the the opportunity. But let's stick to the current site. Round 5, basement. I think again we will see some vertical presence from Virtus.pro. Although saying that, not too much. They've got the hard breach, the secondary hard breaches, which will be able to take out the hatches. We saw them play the hatches last time, but with Rorik on the Ying rather than the Glaz this time, with Glaz now being panned out, that would suggest that we're maybe going to have a slightly more horizontal push, try and get themselves in alongside site and dump a few candelas in there to create the space.
Yeah, and for those maybe here that are not 100% sure what you mean, yeah, Snake, obviously, as we know, fantastic operator, but the gadget only works laterally. He can't see operators above or below him. So if he's the only intel operator coming into a side, it normally screams they want to do something laterally focused rather than vertical. Of course, leaning towards not having things like a ram on side or a buck or a sledge and whatever else. Maybe it is trying to keep it quite nice and narrow, though, Tim, at some point. So where we've seen teams do things typically, it's been like a warehouse side push with a shield leading the charge in and going forwards from there. But I can't really see Naquo being that guy. Like right now, he's got a drone I can see inside barrels and inside lockers, which says to me he does want to push it on that warehouse side and start his pushing from there. So keep an eye on that. He's got himself in barrels towards the top for now. But that's where the pressure starts to build up. If he can work his way in laterally and start causing bother for everyone else, the Ying above dumping those candelas for, boy, you've also got Skies on the Snake alongside you. And suddenly this starts to look a really good attack coming together.
It's interesting because Geekay have got nobody in sight at the minute, by the way. So they've got Sarks up on top floor, and then they've got 4, or they had 4 in and around weapon and armory, where Aska's now dropped back onto site. Virtus.pro, I think, are aware of this, so are continuing with their push forward towards the site itself, rather than playing into that top floor clearance. Again, it's similar to the approach that we saw when they were on the third choice site. It didn't work out for them that time, so they need to be cautious here. We're going to have a second member of Geekay dropping themselves back to site, make that 3, so they're now starting to stack up. Here comes the Virtus.pro utility. 3 versus 1, a minute left to go. Need to follow in these candelas. It should have been an easy kill, but it's a trade. Groovy somehow predicts the movement and gets the kill down onto Yoga, though. 4 versus 3, Ask manages to level it up with a trade. Leaves us now in a 3 versus 2. This is just back for back for back, kill for kill between these two, and we find ourselves 2 versus 1 effectively as Dan is down. Can he be recovered? The nade goes in to create the space. Back to 2 versus 2.
I was about to say, get your gadget out. You can see everything. Sees how deep they are. At least one of them anyway. And must know that the second is deeper, yet still. Look how much utility you could potentially collect here as well. But now sees the man. Can't quite find the head, though. Damaging towards the other side. A nade that should now make him move across. Waiting for the swing, but not being gifted it. Steps into a Malusi. They know that he's inside now. Sure enough, sees the head. Gets the 1, but it's down to a 1v1 with 10 seconds to play. Diffuse now being recovered. We'll try and stick this while more of a bait coming out through. But can he see anything? Not even using his gadget here. Instead, going to try and stick this diffuser. But Yupa, he's played the mind game well. Geekay get round 5.
That is a really big round for Geekay, because I feel like the third choice site of Bunks and Briefing has actually been their best defensive site so far. That was the easiest win for them. It felt like Virtus.pro were the furthest from accomplishing something on that site. So now, in a 3-2, with Bunks and Briefing yet to come, you look at this and think, actually, a 3-3 is very possible here for Geekay. And what a start that is for them. It really gets them into this one. We've said that the preference for Geekay has to be winning this in 2 maps. They don't want to play Virtus.pro on Fortress. They are phenomenal on that map. So you look at Lair as being a real pivotal point of this game, because we do expect Geekay to take their map pick on Chalet. It is a map that Virtus.pro have struggled with in the recent past. So 3-3 half, massive start for Geekay.
All right. Now this is going to be interesting from here. To be able to battle back the way that they have on a map that, again, when you look at the numbers, it does not look like a good map for them to come to. Not given Virtus.pro's record on it, 5-2, one that they love. Geekay not winning this map at any time over the last 6 months. You probably look at it very understandably and say, sure, this should be a Virtus.pro rollover. But I think a 3-3 split on Lair, given it's been quite attacker-leaning, actually. When I say attacker-leaning, I don't mean it's been like a greater than 50% attacker win rate. Just amongst our pool of 9 maps, it is one of our more attacker-leaning maps that we have. Therefore, I can just say it's a attacker-leaning map. I think you probably still favour yourself as Virtus.pro looking at this in. Okay, if we can get a 4-2, then cool. If it ends 3-3, I feel a little bit nervous, and the Geekay may actually be able to fight their way back in.
That's going to be what Geekay are banking on. I have absolutely no doubt. Naquo continues. He's going to round out the half, playing Blitz consistently throughout, apart from that one round where he played Sense and it did not work out. This time they're going to bring the Blitz. So that would suggest to me top floor clearance. They're recognising that they want that top floor control. Get the Blitz in there, get up in their faces. That's what we can see. Straight into Ops. Pasha manages to take down Yupo. That is a great start here. They cannot lose this shield though. Nitro ripped and ready. Sarks is just waiting to hear that noise. It goes over. Naquo avoids it. That's big. The track is going to force Sarks a little bit deeper here. And Virtus.pro will continue edging forward. Love what I'm seeing from them.
Yeah, much more composed this field so far. Rorik again just pulling off the sort of play that he's done so many times, especially for this site throughout the game. And now in a position where surely with a half a round still to play, they feel they can get a couple more collapses in, get rid of these other players, and then worry about the vertical play itself. And sure enough, he's hunting, but Yogg has already dropped the hatch.
Changing max.
Yeah, it's certainly just getting a little bit away from them here, but Geekay finding at least a little bit of a footing to push back from Dan and Naquo. Both a little bit low on health, need to be cautious, but site access should be possible for Virtus.pro if they start working in that direction later in the round. Skies does get taken down. That's the snake off the board. Not going to help them when it comes to intel and being aware of those flanks. I like the way that Sarks is playing this. He's not overcommitting, still full health, takes his challenge, drops away. He's looking at the clock. He knows that there's less than a minute left to go. He knows that he can just play this game of cat and mouse, try and burn away more seconds and give them something to build on.
This is the key difference, right? It's a total flip where they, surely not. I was about to say, you can't get away with that. As soon as you stepped over that barbed wire, you have to know what's coming. It's an easy kill for Rorik. Granted, if he was a bit deeper on that top floor, maybe he doesn't get away with it. But here we go. Naquo's in. No smokes to which to stop him either. Pulls off for a second as they hear him, and he gets the tag that he needs. Pasha finds his man. They've got the vertical, but it's about 10 seconds to go here. Starts to get challenged at the same time. Down to almost nothing. All Naquo's got to do is step to the side and find a new angle. Doesn't even need it as Dan finds the kill that he needs to collect. A 4-2 for Virtus.pro on their map pick.
Yeah, I think Virtus.pro pretty happy with the way that has gone to begin with. 4 attacks, not a bad thing on layer. So now they're looking at being able to win this based on the 2 first choice sites. So whether that's probably basement and top floor. If they can just get, they don't even have to lock them down every time.
Studio, let's go.
Thank you very much, guys. I know you love talking about this game. We'll take it from here for you. Shock and horror. You bent some shields against Virtus.pro, and somehow they still find their way to maneuver around it. And also, you took the blitz.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is they can play so many things. It's pick your poison.
Yeah.
You bend 2 shields, they can still play the blitz, and they've done so, right? And so instead of Ying shotgun in those main stairs, it's Demos shotgun this time, and it achieves the same objective. He can still play vertically. The blitz is still able to plant, and as you can see, the Grim from Pasha still on the bathroom side, always being so annoying. And that's something that recurrently we've seen, right? When Rorik is not then playing the Ying or the Demos, he's on what? He's on glass. And then we see another Demos, and then we see another Blitz. And when it's not Demos, it's Solid Snake. They're abusing all of the operators that remove strong positions, Jack, and they're just so good at this game.
Yeah, they really are. They have the right people in the right roles, and their team playing synergy is honestly second to none. It's so impressive. And I think, realistically, two of the guys at the forefront of it, you just mentioned it there, Leo, was Rorik and Pasha. And why are they at the forefront of it? Because, like you say, when they're not playing the Demos, they're playing the Ying. When they're not playing the Ying, they're playing the Glass. They're playing the current meta so well. And when the attack's got so many options, and you've got such a good shield player, you target the shield player, that's great. But then you allow all of the other things through. If you target the other things through, Naquo would have been running rampant on the shields today.
And they're playing the backstab position or the key position in most of these rounds in attack. Rorik is the one dedicated to below and main stairs. So he's the one that's going to get the people moving on site and removing the desk. He's the one that's going to get people moving on top main and bathroom. Pasha is always playing bathroom and display. And when it's on the basement, one of them is backstabbing storage very often, and the other is on the vert. So they're all playing critical positions and achieving super important kills to get man advantage.
Rorik's so impressive, isn't he? Like, think of it, like he was spent so long genuinely in tier 2, and he was always there. He was always known about as a talent, and he's made the step up into tier 1 today, and he just looks at home. He looks so natural inside this roster, and he's having such big impacts. Let's remind you of the stakes of this game, by the way. way. This is playing for a spot at EWC. You know, this is playing for a spot at probably one of the biggest tournaments in the entire Siege calendar year, to then go on to their goal, which will be to win it and then to make the 6th Invitational as well. And he just looks unfazed, looks absolutely unflappable. And remember, he's doing that in his rookie year as well.
He was our best rookie so far of the group stage. It was about time that Rorik got his call up to Tier 1. And now, with that, he can help his team win out this first map in an oh-so-important best-of-3 series to qualify to EWC.
Okie dokie. As it stands then, Tim, Virtus.pro are in the driving seat, but for how long will be the big question on everyone's minds? Because Geekay did show a little bit of battle throughout, but now the side switched. Well, that classic saying comes to mind. There are two halves to a game of Siege, and maybe, just maybe, Geekay has got some beans to show us here on the attack of Lair.
Absolutely possible, but I've got to, personally, I look at this and I fully expect Virtus.pro to come out and lock this down. Now, I'm not saying necessarily 7-2, but I would expect them to come out and get this one done, you know, fairly comfortably. Get the first couple of rounds, your top floor, your basement, and then leave yourself in a position of just needing one additional, or at least get 2 out of the first 3. So you kind of 6-2, 6-3, and then you go on to close it out from there. That's what I'm fully expecting from Virtus.pro. Geekay, absolutely possible that they could upset that, you know, that they could come in and have something to say about it, but right now, anything less than that would be a little bit of a failure on Virtus.pro's part.
It sure would, given the quality we've seen from them so far today and all. But let's see how things settle as we get into the half. First scan coming out from Yog. In this case, then it would be aggression coming out from Virtus.pro. Not really the team that I'd expect to do that too much. So we have seen, again, a very much reborn Virtus.pro over the last 6 months, where aggression is a part of their game plan. But given the lineup they've got here with a Warden, of course, with the Janker and the Smoke, that's a lot of utility which you can sit behind here. And the C4 certainly not going to hurt anyone either as well. Rorik getting rid of Sarks. And once again, Tim, he's on a bit of a field down. And we've got to find out in the interview after this series if he has been playing ranked today. Because I can almost guarantee you the answer will be no.
It's just that I'm sure it's even at the level Rorik will be playing at, it's just a very different mindset. I'm sure, you know, you probably just gets into that rank and maybe over challenges a little bit in pro and gets punished for it, where he'd get away with it in ranked. But he's certainly getting away with absolutely everything so far today. Sark's taken down by the Nitro, leaves them without the Twitch. That is going to mean things like the FNAT might just be a little bit more secure if they weren't already dealt with. Nade will down Dan. He had nowhere to go. It was well played by Geekay. They've created a situation where it was difficult for him to move. Come the Shamika canisters though, and they're going to do a little bit of chip damage to Ask, who is now just below half health on the Blackbeard.
That's it. And that's a nice one. But I tell you what, he's a demon with shotguns today.
He's demon with everything.
The man. Just give him a knife. Maybe it'll be a balanced fight that way. Might well find himself the next. Indeed he does. Rorik, another massive round. He is the demon of Lair, Tim. And they ain't taking it away from him. 5-2.
I think you could take all his guns off him and he'd still find a way. Unbelievable double kill there from, you know, how often do we see that where it's one on the shotgun, flip to the secondary, hit it with the SMG, not just hitting a headshot, but a headshot on a Blackbeard, by the way. Even tougher. Just Rorik. I can't say enough positive about him at the minute. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
And so much so, Tim, that it has shocked Geekay into attack timeout after just 1 round of the half being played. What's that all about? We always say if you see a 1 round attack timeout after we've gone past the half, something is going drastically wrong inside of the camp. And it's not like the strat didn't work. No, because you've got to play two more different sites before you can worry about strats being corrected anyway. It's a communication issue. It's players not getting on maybe the way they should be, not trusting each other. Whatever it is, clearly the game plan is not being met on the Geekay side, and that means they've had to step in early here and try and get a handle on things.
Moving into round 8, then we'll see whether that has any impact or not. I think the best thing that Geekay can try to do at the minute is disrupt this Virtus.pro side on the defense. That's going to be a really important factor for them. Virtus.pro in that last round were able to basically play the positions that they wanted to play. As soon as Rorik gets that Nitro, nobody tries to move him after that point. And when they do, they go one at a time. They give him the opportunity for the shotgun on the close close range and then the SMG on the long range, and there's just no real disruption for him there. You know, where's the nades coming in to displace him? We saw it done beautifully onto Dan, by the way, who, you know, that's what they need more of. Creating those lose-lose situations, forcing Virtus.pro to get on their toes and move around and move out of that first choice power position and get into a more difficult spot. That's what I want to see from Geekay here. Just looking across the utility that they've got, they don't have a massive amount with which to do that. Or, you know, a couple of nades in there and your Capitao firebolts. They're going to be your main elements that are going to help you get people moving around. Maybe a bit of verticality as well with the ram and the sledge. Force them. It's a little bit difficult on basement of Lair, but I feel like you can get plenty of verticals, but there's always kind of a door frame to hide behind. There's always a little side room to stand in. And so it's a real tough one, I think, to gain vertical superiority and use it effectively.
It's like attacking like Coastline back in the day, or I guess Cafe more in the modern day. It just forces players off-site is the main thing, and can sometimes lead them into the waiting arms of lurkers that will be on the attacking side, waiting to strike as players are forced out of position. But it is different to what we saw back in that first half, where we didn't really bother with verticals at all. This is very much no, every floorboard needs to disappear with both the ram and the sledge on side. Echo, the one looking to cause a bit of bother, really just hanging around the top of that staircase. A very popular position to play in. Looking to waste time with Goyo, canisters with smokes. Loads he can sit in behind here, and like I say, this is where that sticking point will come. Does he get both of those in one? Yes, he does. Both fire canisters removed.
Nice use of the nades, very efficient, taking out that protection that Neko has got up at the top of there. He's going to hold his position, at least for the time being, but he's not going to overcommit to it, I don't think. Who else will get this round started?
Man.
Rorick manages to step out with the TCSG, takes down Newport, and that is the Capitao utility gone. So when I talked about disruption, they have just lost a huge amount of that potential disruption that they could have used. Bullets do rain down towards, not one of them.
Not a single one.
That is so unlucky for Geekay.
Bounce that requires a bit of a cruel mistress, it turns out. He'll get absolutely nothing. And this is again where the threat of that vertical comes in. It forces players to move around more than anything else, and hopefully into the waiting arms of one or two on your side. But the smoke comes out. That is the last one. So this is where things are a bit more free now. Geekay will be able to start piling the pressure on. Oh, he's so dead. He's so dead.
This is it. Neko knows that he's got absolutely nowhere to go. The best he can hope is getting one. Doesn't even manage that. Gets taken out by Yoga. The fight continues from deep as Dan did manage to evacuate, get himself to safety, and he can play this half wall now. Look at the time. 35 seconds left to go. Things are getting a little bit nail-biting for Geekay here. They've got some of the verticality that they wanted. They've got a little bit of space to put the diffuser down, but they've got to get in through filtration to be able to do that, or alternatively look to drop the hatch, but they need to control filtration. They can't leave Dan in the position he's in. That's a big kill as Groovy manages to pick him up. 15 seconds left to go. Diffuser not going down as Skies will take out Ask, and that is the diffuser down in no man's land. Damage being done now. Groovy down, starts find Skies. The diffuser is recovered. It's going to start going down. 2 seconds left to go. It's going to be a Virtus.pro round as they have to come off. The bullets rain into the planter, and that's going to be Virtus.pro going 6-2.
Honestly, the amount of time they've wasted there, like, I know he's died in the end, but the smoke of Neko, chewed through 2 minutes playing behind those Goyo canisters and the 3 smokes that he had in pocket, and it just meant there was a little bit too much left to be done for Geekay, unfortunately. Didn't have as much vertical control as maybe they wanted. They were so focused on punishing Neko that once they cleared out that spot, they had everything still to do with the site itself. You saw, 10 seconds on the clock, we're still breaking through barbed wire, for example. It was just never going to end well for them. So a really good setup there coming out from Virtus.pro to run that clock down. And now Geekay, unfortunately, are in quite a tough spot. We did say if they were going to win this series, it had to be a 2-0. It already looks like they might be starting things out down a single map here.
Look, it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but they better be ready. They better be ready, is what I will say, if they're going to end up playing Fortress against Virtus.pro. Who knows, maybe Virtus.pro shows something a little different on Chalet, and that's where the difficulty really kicks in for Geekay. But, Fortress, you've got to hope that they've got a game plan there and that they've done the study, they've been watching the tape. problem with Virtus.pro is even when you know what they're going to do at the minute, it's very difficult to stop them doing it. So as I suggested at the beginning, 2 out of the first 3 rounds so far have gone to Virtus.pro. This is going to be the third of those 3. It's possible that they win it here and now. It's a third choice site, so Geekay, I think, have a real opportunity to get in here, get themselves an attack on the board, take it to 6-3, and then maybe build a little confidence going into those top and bottom floor sites again in the second half of their attacks. But Virtus.pro, you just wouldn't put it past them. The Geekay need top floor control. It's as simple as that.
They will probably tell you yes, but would also make the same remark that we did about Virtus.pro back in their attacking half when they had this sort of lineup coming out. It's again very lateral. You've got the snake on side, which is going to help you clear top floor. Then you can worry about executing with it off the back of the shield going through. Again, you can see the game plan coming together for what it is. But to do that first, you've got to make sure they're moving these players that are currently hanging around upstairs. Otherwise, you've got no chance in hell of getting that diffuser down on site.
Blackbeard can be, of course, very useful in support of the Snake as well. Snake feeds the intel, Blackbeard goes in and gets aggressive and starts moving those defenders around. Geekay need to make sure they don't give away the opener. Every time so far on the attack, they have suffered the loss of that entry kill. They need to give themselves as good a chance as they can. Aquo finds himself not here again. It's exactly like last round when he was on the smoke. The nades start raining in. There's nowhere for him to go. Beautiful from Geekay. A lot of utility, but it gets the job done and creates the space that they need to start moving forward.
It gets the job done, Tim, but look at the time. Over half a round has been wasted. All their nades have been expended. They've had to use almost everything to be able to get this top floor control, which means you then start getting somewhat limited in terms of what you can actually do on the site itself. Granted, they don't need to do loads on site. Sarks is waiting for the backstab here. Does the kill come first for Pasha, though? He's in towards one on the shield, and Yoga wins out on that one. That's a great little play. Rorik gets one back, but there's a trade there. Much better from Geekay, Tim. They got a 4v2. Surely not being able to lose this position is all but guaranteed, right?
Yeah, really nice play from Yoga on the Blackbeard there. Just timed it perfectly, using that audio, knew when he was going to be approached, and just kind of almost pre-fired the shield bash and got the job done. Little vertical angle coming out there, but no damage done to Yoga on the Blackbeard. 30 seconds left to go. It's the one thing Geekay need to be careful of. This round is theirs. Make no mistake about it. But if they leave it too late to drop into sight and start putting the diffuser down, they could find themselves in a position where they have to take unnecessary risks. Ask manages to find Skies, all up to Dan. 1v4, certainly capable, but not like that. Groovy finds his man through the soft wall, and Geekay take that round that we expected. Third choice site is theirs. 6-3.
I'd be very, if you got Scrooby there and he's alone upstairs with 15 seconds on the clock, everyone else trying to make a plant happen, and you're on the Solus, suddenly you start thinking, oh my god, they've really lost the round. But no, really good for Groovy to get that closing kill to make sure that he knew his flank was exposed. There'll be a potential push coming in from Dan. At least give themselves another chance, and most importantly, Tim, the chance to ban away another operator. We'll probably see the Snake get taken away. In fact, no, going to go in towards the Glaz, which does somewhat surprise me. We've seen quite a lot of Snake, and honestly thought we might see that taken away.
It's pick your poison, realistically, isn't it? When you've still got the Snake, you've still got the Dokkaebi, you've still got, you know, all these kind of power operators up on the board. So which one do you want to face off against the least? They've decided in this case that Snake is not the worst enemy that they are having to go up against at the moment. I think given the way that Virtus.pro played, you know, round 7 and round 8 when they got the win up here on top floor and down in basement, it's maybe not had the biggest impact. So especially for top floor, I think if you're looking to win this here and now, look at the damage that Rorik did with the Glaz to start with, you know, in the first half of things. And Virtus.pro know if they can take that sort of power away, because you want to get the Glaz just stood on site door, playing through smokes. You can't play the desk anymore. It forces the defenders deeper, and they can start getting that room to put the diffuser down. Virtus.pro have just completely removed that now, and I think it's actually quite a smart move.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's impeding you and you feel you can go a bit faster without it being in your way, why not? It makes total sense to me. Again, my eyes are kind of like drawn towards questionable, slightly eyebrows slightly raised at the ban of the Glaz. I think although it's been something Virtus.pro have shown, is it like an absolute must or like a key part of their comp that starts to fall apart if they don't run it. Maybe not. I guess the one thing it does free up, though, is you to not have to play Warden on the other side here, so they can, of course, then make use of that slot for other operators coming out. In fact, I'm walking back to front here a little bit. Taking away that buzz on the other side means that Virtus.pro can afford not to play it, sorry. They can instead lean towards much more turtle-ized setups. And looking at this lineup again, we saw this a little bit earlier on. The Smoke and the Janker, the Goya on side, now the Mute as well. Like, oh my god, how much more do you want to try and slow the opposite team down by Tim? It's going to be a headache.
And given that we've seen Geekay struggling with time so far, it makes absolutely perfect sense. Virtus.pro reading into that. The breach is not going to be walkable, but the line of sight is damaging enough on its own. It's that phantom pressure. It's that risk that somebody could wander up. You can't play too aggressively now in towards that plant spot. You're going to have to play from a little bit deeper behind Des. This is good from Geekay so far. They've got the hole in mask wall. They've got the hole now in ops, so they can start looking through directly into sight. The next job is getting the wall in front of you opened up so that they can go in there and think about getting a plant down on the ground. They're a little way away from actually accomplishing that, but for now they can at least get the breach open, prepped and ready, and then it's about starting to push around these players inside of sight.
Absolutely. Can they achieve the same impact that we saw there from Virtus.pro, and Rorik was playing on the vertical more than anything? That's really where my eyes fall towards Jupa and what he can do to start piling a little bit of pressure on. But now at least impeded on the main stairs. Here we go, though, with their shotgun on the Deimos again, trying to move his way forward. But another smoke comes over from the sky. It's just to waste a bit more time, Tim. They're very happy playing it out this way. We're down to the last 60. We've still got all but one of the Shumikers available. The final smoke is now coming out. There's a Goyo canister or still two around, and Skies has got rid of Jupa. This is the dream territory for Virtus.pro.
Just the pre-fire coming across there was actually beautiful to take down Rorik, but damage is done elsewhere. Skies will be punished, but not until the damage was done. He got a double kill in the round. Look at Starks' health as well, super low. So Geekay, with 30 seconds left to go, they're going to have to start rushing towards site here. It's not something they want to do with such low HP, but Pasha is finding himself in the same predicament at the minute now. Low health. He looks to make that challenge onto Bathroom. 20 seconds left to go. You gotta move, Geekay. Nade comes in, forces Pasha out of position. Yoga gets the kill. 15 seconds left. But the problem is you've not dealt with the core of sight yet. And Neko is full health with LMG in hand. He finds the first. Will he close out the second? Yes, he will. Virtus.pro, they lock down there and take themselves the first map in our best of 3.
Throughout the map in multiple rounds, and it really hurt them. The blessing being, Chalet is a much smaller map. It's a map they haven't yet lost so far in 2026, and it's a map that Virtus.pro have not won in 2026. So let's see if they can get it done. We'll leave that fear of Fortress until we get to it. For now, we'll focus on whether or not Geekay can get this one over the line.
Bans will come on through a castle ban, which is a slightly unusual one, and a Sami, so 2 architects taken away by Geekay just to give them a little bit more freedom. It's kind of the antithesis to that Bandit Kaid ban that we often see, this time taking away some of the problems that might slow them down. So I love that with, you know, as you said, Leo's spoken about that. What are the issues that are going to slow us down? What are the issues that are going to take time? They're still going to have to deal with the trap operators, but at least it means they're not going to be dealing with those kind of power positions being held down by Castle and Azami, or at least by the Castle barricades. So yeah, I think that's a good choice coming in from Geekay there to not have to deal with that sort of stuff. Virtus.pro, on the flip side, they don't want to deal with the Monte, and they're going to take the Snake away as well.
All right. I like it in terms of bans. I think, again, leaning in towards shields never going to be a problem. The Snake's certainly an interesting one because I think it just means that you're going to see a hell of a lot of Deimos being forced. And we saw Deimos for an awful lot of the last map. We also saw an awful lot of Snake coming out too. So both are good bans. But I think because of the verticality of this map, I would probably have lent towards targeting towards a Deimos, but also appreciate that a Snake is probably a bit of an easier ban for most teams these days. And the other side, as you say, Tim, both of our architects being taken away except the mirror, but it's not being ran at least here in round 1.
Touchdown will already be racing around, looking to zap, zap, zap all of those electronics that it can find. Razor Blooms, I think, will be a particular target along with the electricals. They're going to be a focus. And if they can take away any of those magnet systems from Wamai as well, I'm sure that that will be well appreciated. We know there's a Razor Bloom just inside this window because we've just seen it put in there. And little dash across there does keep Sarks away from any danger. Only just. He manages to get himself out of the way.
But now, they'll be back, I'm sure. We'll be looking to ask questions more laterally as well, all the way through to the back end of kitchen. Right sort of idea. You'll see players skulking around down there looking to cause a spot of bother, but that is a really unfortunate siege timing moment. Sarts looks away for the track and Skies gets the drop on him, gets a freebie.
Great team play. Great team play there. I think, you know, the comm is there, the track is in. He's going to be focused on me, and Skies uses that to maximum effect. Takes a bunch of damage along the way, but shouldn't be the end of the world. Naquo's going to take the damage from the Docker Be Cold there, eat the 40, lose the use of the phone. Don't forget that part as well. Won't be able to go on cams because no longer has a phone to access them. And still 5 versus 4, 1 minute 20 we are now coming down towards, and Virtus.pro still very much active around the map here, and that problem of time is going to creep up on Geekay again pretty soon.
They know, but is Pasha going to get them what they want? Will he give him a free kill? He's just a bit too quick. Snaps out of existence as soon as he appears, but Nako gets put chewed down here. Now Pasha's still downstairs in the basement though. Of course, he is 2 floors away from where the action is actually going on, so it'd be a shock if he can get away with a kill or 2 here. As Yog gets one, Dan gets one elsewhere. It is back and forth between the two, but right now it's Virtus.pro coming out on top.
2 versus 2 as Yoga manages to get the trade onto Rorik, though. Dan low health as well, so this is not all plain sailing for Virtus.pro. Geekay certainly have an advantage in terms of HP. Just looking to see if they can find the man behind desk, looking to chop and change their angles, keep him guessing. He has managed to move up close to this wall. Dan gets aggressive with the pistol and manages to find the kill, and that leaves it all up to Yoga on the Twitch. We've seen some big moments from him so far this stage. He's going to drop a smoke and see if he can get away with putting this diffuser on the ground. I think he might just, you know, I don't think Virtus.pro were really aware or in a position to do anything about it, but Dan manages to get the kill, gets the job done, and that's going to be round 1 going to Virtus.pro.
Great round from Dan as well. Yeah, a little bit scrappy, and I was with you, Tim. We got to about 1 minute and 15 left. I was like, guys, we've barely moved. We're still sat around lobby. We've got meds control, but not really an awful lot else working with us right now. Sure enough, as they finally get themselves moving forward, they start getting pushed into pace a little bit, especially when it comes down to that closing 2 versus 2, which is really well played by the Virtus.pro players. I think Ask was a little bit too nervous on the door, though. Peeked it a few too many times, gave himself up. There's an easy one for Dan to collect on the other side of things. Round 1 going the way of Virtus.pro then. Not bad at all.
Yeah, good start from them, and I think again, you know, we're looking towards the clock, something to definitely keep our eyes on as this one continues through, because it wasn't, you know, the defining factor in that last round. Virtus.pro got a good couple of kills, particularly that opener onto Deimos. It was good decisive action by Skies, but yeah, definitely that clock ticking down towards the end did leave them in a position to be concerned, I think. So we'll be getting into round 2 just as soon as we can do. And Virtus.pro are going to be continuing on the defense. 1-0 it stands.
Absolutely. If nothing else, what did go right for them that round was they did get good control early on as a team on that south side of the map. It's one thing I will praise them on, the punish on towards Nako, for example. They were effective at getting that part of the map done. A little bit unfortunate on their initial attempt to take over of the library side. You know, the drop that came through the hatch, it was a nice little cute play coming out from Skies. But it was really after that where the struggle started. So if the early round starts well, cool. How do you then translate it into a strong, solid mid-round by getting good map control in good time? Virtus.pro, unsurprisingly, are starting themselves up on the top floor to waste a good chunk of time up here. Very classic setup that you see upstairs. And of course, we're looking to hold the verticals above site itself. At which time you'll then see Geekay, once they've got control of that top floor, then thinking about their execute. But something tells me, Tim, with a mirror on side, they are not looking to make this easy for the attackers.
No, exactly. And this is the point that we're at, you know, with the bans. You take away the castle, you take away the Azami, 2 of the big architects are in the game, and you leave Mirror on the board. So you're going to have to play into that instead. And this is the problem that Geekay face at the minute. And I think, you know, part of the speeding up, yes, can come from the operators that you take away and prevent being played against you, but it also needs to come from you as a team, going in there, getting aggressive, finding kills and finding space, and then continuing to move. I think it's about having that completeness of plan in mind, so there isn't these pauses between phases. Right, we've got established what's the next step, start drawing in it, you know, it's got to be bang straight onto it. For the time being, we've got Nitro pre-ripped in hand. I'm not sure they're going to get too much joy at the minute because Geekay are not diving inside of the building. It does, Wout does not find anybody, but Passion does. Takes down Grubit, and second manages to find Starks. And it's, to be quite frank, it is just too easy.
They know that Pasha's belayed that spot in the previous round, that he was skulking around in the basement. But to be fair to him, he's really isolated it rather than then taking 2 poorly timed 1v1s. He's isolated out his 1 versus 1s there and got away with something particularly excellent. Has got the kills that he needs. And now really has set his team up to be able to close out this round. Pressure now coming in towards Skies. Will have no choice but to run for the drop at some point here as well. You can see the Capitale of Uper outside is just waiting, but the reason why he's used those impacts to him is there are now no Roteros left. They've been counting, and now he's very safely tucked in here, unless he gets forced out by the Capitale. But look at who he's playing. He's on one mind. They have to challenge and Tim, and they still get away with the kill. Far too easy. It's a flawless round for Virtus.pro. Barely bothered in that second round.
Yeah, absolutely. If you remember in the last map on there, I spoke about disruption, didn't I, from Geekay? You know, how are you disrupting these defenders? How are you moving away from the positions that they want to play? And the answer here is that problem is continuing. They haven't disrupted anybody on the side of Virtus.pro. That trifecta up on the top floor was still in position. I can tell you now, if you've got your player still in the corner of library as a defender at the end of a round, you have been unbothered throughout that round. You can see Naquo. He's still in the support position in box. There'll be a player on blue stairs as well. And, you know, it's just not enough being done to dislodge them and move them around. Rorik supporting from underneath as well. He's the one who actually gets the kill onto Ask as he comes in through there. And, yeah, Geekay, they quite simply have to find a way. I like some of the stuff they've been doing. I like bringing along the Roteros, clear out some of that utility. It didn't work because, guess what? Virtus.pro were ready for it, and they had impact nades in pockets, guys. Just cleared out the Rotero drone. Counter after counter after counter with Virtus.pro always coming out on top.
Got to see Geekay really turn the heat up a little bit here. It's been challenging. In the same way, again, what Leo was saying on the desk about how the pace has really been lacking for their gameplay at points. It feels the same. They lack a conviction, maybe is a strong word to use, but I'd say they're lacking conviction in the plays as a team that they're making. And I know they lost the series, but compare them back to G2's attacks earlier on today. Even Balkans, I'd say, to some level of the same. Like, they commit towards the thing as a team and they move in as a unit, and they know that, okay, sometimes it might get a little bit messy, but it's worth the calculated risk that we're taking. I'm not seeing much of that from Geekay so far. It's a little bit too safe for my liking.
Kitchen and dining is going to be the site for attack this time. We can see that the walls there have actually been opened up and a long line of sight given. It works both ways, so the attackers will benefit from that a little bit, and it might just enable Geekay to speed things up here. They can at least challenge all the way through into kitchen, prevent a little bit of movement from the defenders. But what it does scream is there's going to be a huge top floor presence from Virtus.pro, which is what we can see. There's only one inside a kitchen at the minute, and that's simply because the defenders can't play inside a site because of this line of sight they've left open. They want to make it uncomfortable for the attackers to be inside of fireplace. So Virtus.pro top floor is what it is all about. They've got the verticals. They are ready to deny from above. Geekay have to clear them out. They need at least 2 kills up here before they force Virtus.pro back to site.
But now, just again, that spot of not really being too bothered. Extending the net a little bit further with a single trip mine being dropped down here as well. That's another thing to have to worry about. Yogg's the one you're looking at to get inside there. I love the use of this, by the way. It's very pretty.
I mean, it certainly puts lasers absolutely everywhere. Makes
it's like,
somewhat of an obstacle course out of it, yeah.
Is it like a yurt or something? It's beautiful. The right keeps it safe, I think, is more the point for conversation. But look, it's like seeing like a bank and there's a very, very secure object in the middle. In this case, the player is the secure object in the middle of it. Good luck getting in there.
Equal manages to find the opener, and it seems like it's starting to crumble a little bit for Geekay here. On Chalet, we normally expect the attackers to have a little bit of joy, but they're finding absolutely nothing right now, and the momentum sits completely with Virtus.pro. Not too much of a surprise given the stage that Virtus.pro have had. Dan taken down, but did take one along with him. 3 versus 3 as Sarks manages to find Skies, but there's a look at the clock. 30 seconds left to go again. They still don't have vertical control, and they're still not in a position to put the diffuser down.
And Nako's got a second, and there's just no response from the other side. Nako's got a third, and there's no response from the other side. I don't know, man. He's sat inside a kitchen. He's waltzed in towards dining. He's got 3 kills on his walkabout. This is where I say you need conviction to just go sometimes as a team and do things. It's almost like they're waiting too long for conditions to be perfect than to be absolutely certain what they're doing is going to work out. I'd rather see them try than peter out like we're seeing them do here.
Yeah, exactly that. Look, I think, you know, we really do need to remember who they're up against, and almost every team that...
I just can't buy it. Like, he's had a wander through sight, Tim. He's done whatever the hell he pleases there.
I know,
it's too easy.
I know that it is too easy at the minute, but I think, you know, that can come from the fact that mentally Geekay might just be a little bit beaten up at the minute, because Virtus.pro, you know, it must feel like you're playing against 6 players sometimes against this Virtus.pro, and mistakes will start to creep in, fatigue will start to creep in, and I think that's what we may be seeing a little bit of at the minute, and Geekay just not fully focused right now. But Virtus.pro, they've only been beaten by 1 team through the entire stage. You know, it's a huge ask to go up against them. I think that's something that maybe Geekay need to be reminding themselves of here in this tactical timeout. Look, you know, let's just go and play our game. This isn't our only opportunity. We go into the lower bracket, we go again if this doesn't work out. You know, this is it's almost, we've done the hard yards already, and this is our free shot. This is our free attempt to get in there.
Well, a lot can happen after a attack timeout. A lot can happen when you get into a second quarter and repeat the sites that you've already seen. And maybe, just maybe, Geekay can start turning this one around. A reminder again, whoever wins this series, it's looking like it's going towards Virtus.pro, make it to EWC. The loser isn't out and isn't, like, unable to make it anymore. 4 of our teams will go. But as we've seen with G2, the loser of this game drops down to the lower bracket. They face off against Rebels. Whoever wins that game will be the one that makes it to EWC. In the same stroke, we've got G2 against Fnatic being played next as well. Next is in tomorrow to see out of those teams who makes it.
Round 4, Virtus.pro will just repeat their rotation. It's going to be back to Master and Office, same as round 1. And it's been convincing wins throughout. They've had every single entry kill so far. They had a flawless round in round 2. And right now, Geekay look all at sea. They need to get themselves they need to find solid land, essentially. They need to find themselves something to anchor onto so they can start to build from. And I tell you what, an entry kill would be a wonderful thing to get them going. They're going to see that there is a presence in library. Disruption is a word that I'm going to use again. Virtus.pro cannot be allowed to defend the entirety of the top floor from beginning to end. The only one disrupting anybody is Pasha. As he steps out on a run out, doesn't get killed. He's almost down. He might lose his life, but it doesn't matter because the damage has been done. Yupo's been taken out. That's the hard breach gone.
Nah, he's off towards garage, mate. He'll pop up on main stairs and he'll get another kill like he has done before. Like, he's been down here in 3 of the 4 rounds so far. He's played this exact style on the same operator, yet they are still struggling to deal with him is my main worry. Like, that group has got a hold on the whole time in case he does pop up West Main, but as we've just seen, he's off in Narnia right now. It's the other side of the map.
Going to see the track coming out onto Pasha, but again, it's all wasted time, isn't it? Because he's got himself back up to library now, so he's got a little bit of support as well, you know, from anybody over towards that side. Just having a look, actually, everybody else has moved back, but with 1:30 left to go, Pasha still existing and still surviving and getting himself back to piano. It's borderline unforgivable for Geekay. They can't allow that to happen. Yes, they get the kill now, but what has the cost been? What has the cost been? It's been 1:40 and a death. It's just, it's taken too long.
Don't have what I need.
Too sure about that flash. He's almost there to be able to capitalize off the back. Here comes Groovy with the drone in front of him as well. So a little bit of team play being demonstrated, but he's now converted into a kill. Gets a freebie through the soft wall. That's a mistake, isn't it? Maybe now getting swung in for the second. Has no idea where it's being swung from. I have no idea that Nako took position. Yog into one more. A second from the window. As Dan tried to go for the challenge, but couldn't quite get away with it. Geekay finally on the board.
Yeah, much better late round there from Geekay. I like the teamwork with the drone and Groovy going up solar stairs. Virtus.pro had absolutely no idea, to be fair to them, but it was actually the teamwork that came in beyond that. If you notice, Rorik tried to swing Master Door to challenge on into solar once Groovy had got that first kill, but there was a player on the window, so it was an easy kill. The cover was already in place. And then when the player in bathroom tries to rotate back through to piano, he gets taken down from from double window where there's a player on rappel. So GK had at least the players in the right positions. You'll see it now. You know, had the players in the right positions to be able to cut off those rotations and those routes for the defenders to be able to move around. It worked out really well, and they get themselves their first round. That is at least something for them to build on.
For sure. I was a little bit worried at the start of it. The first 90 seconds didn't look good. They started out the same as the rest, but the recovery was excellent. Now again, can they turn it into a 5th? Can they turn it into a 6th round win? Well, that depends how they want to play it out. Bar and Gaming going to be where we head for this one. I'm not seeing anything to suggest anything too balmy. In fact, more of the same again. We've got the Capital being swapped and we've got the Flores coming in. Same as we saw last time around. But Skies, if you recall, wasn't moved out of the corner of Library. He just got to sit there all day long. They had a bit of a Hail Mary swing on towards him from the double window, but he still managed to get that kill and hold his position for longer. So I'm only slightly nervous here that GK are trying to do the same thing as before and expecting different results, given all that we said tonight around Sanity is trying the same thing and hope for a different outcome, blah, 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 blah. It feels like a lot of the same again.
Windows being opened straight away by GK. I like this little bit of... Feels like a little bit of extra pace from them. Already clearing utility with the Rotero drones. Pressure towards Library already. Damage being done to Virtus.pro. We're only 40 seconds into the round, so this is better from GK. It's a little bit more of an explosive start into this one. But if we remember, last time they attacked onto Game and Bar, they weren't even able to get any top floor control. Nako played in Library right to the end. Rorik was inside a storage right till the end. And so there was no disruption there. This time, they've already forced the player out of Library. Skies has been forced away. He's had to drop the hatch. So already GK feel like they're ahead of where they were last time they attacked onto this.
You say that, he has got himself back up to the Library entrance, so he's still dancing around and being a little bit of a nuisance. I can only assume they know that they've forced him away, but do they know he's now asking the question once again and waiting to step in to challenge them? That remains to be seen. With that cleared out, at least they can start pressuring towards Mez, somewhere they couldn't really get any kind of implication on last time around. They were attacking on towards this site. Smokes coming through a fire nut off the back of it too. And Yogda wants to fall down this time. That really shouldn't be happening. Not ideal to see him falling already as Pasha now swings out in towards Mud, gets his freebie. Even with the call coming on through, he don't care.
Sox is going to pick up Pasha. 1 minute 10 left on the clock. Sky's low health. Rorik has damage done as well. But Yoga down but not out. I'm not sure if he's going to be collected or not. It might not matter as Sox manages to pick up Dan. Effectively now 3 versus 3. Virtus.pro have one inside a piano. But again, GK keep chipping away. Sox manages to get himself another. He's going well over the last couple of rounds. Upor onto Nako. Leaves us now 1 versus 2 effectively with Yoga down, but he's going to be collected. I like this move from GK. They've got the time to do it, and they get the man on his feet. Toxic Babe canister goes out. They know that there's a drop down towards the main door, though. Rorik, he's had a big day so far. Can he continue to hold on? It's not going to take much for him to take down the Lion, but the net is tightening now as they drop into sight. There's going to be an opportunity to put this diffuser down, and I don't think there's anything the smoke can do.
Tries the round for it, but I was going to say no way he gets through the kill onto the planter and the player on the hatch. That's 2 in a row now, Tim. GK starting to warm back at just the right time. If they can get 3 rounds here, I'd feel quite optimistic about their chances in the second half.
I'd agree. I think if you can level it out, get 3 in a row, carry that momentum through to the second 6, you know, maybe you can get something going. We do talk about Chalet being an attacker-favoured map, so Virtus.pro at least have that going for them on the second half, but we know this isn't necessarily their best map in the pool. Having a look, though, over quite a big sample size, over the last 36 rounds of attack they've played on Chalet, they've got a 61% win rate on attack of Virtus.pro, and that could be a real sticking point here for GK, because even at a 3-3, statistically that would put Virtus.pro getting 4 rounds, so they've got their work cut out for them, GK, when they get onto the defense.
All right, and Virtus.pro clearly actually rattled enough by the after. They've only got 1 round to go. And you think, okay, it's not all that impactful. Fine, we'll let round 6 play out. They clearly feel they need to have 4 defenses here. They back themselves on the attacking side, but they need this last round so crucially. And they'll be kicking themselves a little bit. They've had the entry in every single round in this half, yet still they've managed to concede 2 rounds over to a 4 versus 5 GK. That probably, I imagine, is where part of this conversation is going, is, boys, we can't be letting this one slip. We need this one, and then we can see this wrapped up in 2.
Master Bedroom is going to be the final site for Virtus.pro. They did try it back in round 4. They won it in round 1. They tried it in round 4 and lost it to Geekay. If you remember, it was that really nice finish to the round where they had the solar push at the end. They had the double window covered. They had the solar repel, and they just had every angle covered on beautiful crossfires, Geekay, and were able to close it out quite easily. Virtus.pro just got picked apart, essentially. So they're going to have to do things a little bit differently. Pasha tried a run out and successfully achieved a run out in that round, managing to take down the solar side of the attack at the beginning, at least. So I don't really know what, much more Virtus.pro can do here. I was going to say lean towards traps, slow things down. They've got the smoke. They've brought the Banshees this time of the Melusi. That could help to hold down the Solar side in quite a big way, and the Razor Blooms as well. So I like what I'm seeing from Virtus.pro, but they're going to have to prove it.
Stand by to witness the punch.
Imagine Pasha feels a bit hurt being getting to run around the Solar Stone, where he's had a lot of fun with it. But as you say, leaning in towards the Melusi, don't hate it for slowing things down. Though again, speed has been the issue for Geekay. They've been a little bit, like I say, lacking in conviction at points, but do I think this would be the right way to try and help them here? Not 100% sure. Sark's got himself on piano window here, tucked in nice and tight while the barricades around him were being shot out. That would have been his chance to get a freebie. Do they know that he's there? It's only Rorik. I say if it was Rorik and piano, different conversation maybe, but he's inside Master Bedroom of smoke. Could very well displace him here, but no. For now, gets to lie down and keep on holding his angle.
Just waiting for the peak to come on in. We'll have no idea how close that was to Rorik looking around the corner, but he just chose not to at the end, and it was certainly the right choice. Geekay need to be careful here. Nearly halfway through the round, and they're just getting caught sitting, looking through windows, waiting for that opportunity to present itself. And as they try to rush things, as they try to get things moving, it is a jump through the window. Sarks has been the shining light in the last couple of rounds. He gets taken out as the entry death. Advantage Virtus.pro.
All right. But again, Tim, we're at the halfway mark in the round, and we've not really seen a lot of movement. It's almost like Geekay are waiting to see if players on the side of Virtus.pro will dare challenge them. They'll swing them, they'll get a bit restless, and then maybe get a couple of kills off the back of it. Clearly that's not been effective for them in the early parts of any round that we've seen on this map, and a lot of the previous map as well. It's been this mid to late round where things start to look a little bit more positive for Geekay, at least from what we've seen across the last couple. Here, maybe they feel they can get something done in a 4 versus 5, but look at the difference. Virtus.pro are giving them absolutely nothing for now.
Yeah, they're playing this one much better. I feel like they were getting caught out over the last couple of rounds, always in bad crossfires, always in lose-lose situations, but like you say, just offering absolutely nothing up, and that's where the time factor comes in for Geekay. We're now at 35 seconds again, and it's another position where they might struggle. You felt like Pasha had made the mistake there, that he'd maybe gone for the wrong side, that Ask had outthought him and outmaneuvered him, but there was no pre-fire from Ask, and it allowed Pasha to get those shots in, take his man down. 5 versus 2 as Rorik picks up Yoga. It's a flawless round. They were left to jump in through windows, Geekay, and this time they didn't have the answers like they have in the last couple of rounds.
In the last couple of rounds, I think they found, again, Virtus.pro stepping into their lines of sight or looking to challenge them, and they've got away with 3 kills as a result. This round here, Virtus.pro, dead patient for the vast majority of it, right up until we got towards the last 10 to 15 seconds. And when they did do something about it, they exploded. So, nice try. But still a nice half overall coming out for Virtus.pro. Let's see what Anna and the boys thought about that one.
Yeah, well, the first half we've been treated to, especially from Virtus.pro here, and listening to the player comes from Geekay as they were on attack. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of panic, and the problem solving on their end seemed to be really rough.
Yeah, I think so. I think unequivocally Virtus.pro have won that half. Chalet is attacker-sided, VP get a 4-2 defensive half. How did they do it? Well, let's take a look at it. It goes round 2, and they're playing somebody in the library corner position. It starts off with Pasha getting aggressive, big double kill. Okay, Geekay, that's fine. You've now got a free kill. What are you going to do about it? You're going to do nothing about it. You know, they stood, looked at the window for ages. In the end, the solution was let's double jump in on the window. Absolutely get fried and die. Okay, what about the next power position? Beautiful, beautiful Denari setup inside a piano. How are you going to clear this, Geekay? Well, they don't. They go and hit site direct, and that's exactly what VP wanted. They had the ACOG, the long sight, they had the vertical, and they had done.
Exactly, look at the time. 20 seconds left in the end. Because like they just looked at the strat, and they could not problem solve it.
And in fairness, the half then went a little bit better. Shepard took his time out. You know, Geekay managed to find a couple of round wins. They started baiting out some of that aggression. Pasha was running around like a madman the first few rounds. They baited that out, and they really started getting a grasp on it. And then we saw something that we don't necessarily always see. We saw a timeout in round 5 of the half, which I think from Dark there was actually genius, because he knows how important winning the defensive half on Shelly is. He wanted a timeout for 1 round so that his team was carrying a 4-2 into this half rather than a 3-3. And then what did he do? He asked them to play passive. He asked them to wait, let Geekay execute, even rat. We saw Pasha go from a madman running out, running out with impacts, sprinting at people, to ratting inside a dining. Big playstyle change, and they win that round as well.
Yeah, the main thing for VP, they had the right game plan, right? Let Pasha go aggressive, let him roam freely. The 4 other players will play behind line of sight. They will play behind loads of utility. And if you force Geekay to have to problem solve all of this utility, as their game plan basically crumbles, because their playstyle has always been split around, find a gap. But what happens when you have to create the gap? They've never trained to create a gap. It's always there in front of them. So when there is no gap, then they don't know what to answer.
Now, I am absolutely shocked. I have never seen these bans before against Nako. Never in my life have I seen 2
Back
shields.
on the blitz you go.
And he's going to go straight back on the blitz. I think what's interesting with that, and of course it was coming especially on Chalet for this map, is which shield do you want him on? They've clearly identified they prefer him on the blitz rather than Monty or Blackbeard.
The cool thing is now we're going to see the difference between the 2 teams when it comes to clearing those power position. And VP, I can tell you they're going to be good at this.
And that's the big thing. It seems like Virtus.pro are only just a few rounds away from qualification to the Esports World Cup. Geekay, it's the second half, your final moment to turn the tide around.
Thank you very much, guys. All right, let's see if they can turn that tide. Virtus.pro showed the ability to adapt, admittedly only for 1 round, Tim, in the 6th third with how they played it out, as the Dash just explained. Geekay are going to have to show a little bit of bottle here to hold on what is typically a very attacker-sided map. And Virtus.pro, yes, they haven't won this map in 2026, and Geekay haven't lost it, but we know they've got some serious attacking chops on them, and I'd be nervous regardless.
Yeah, we've had a couple of maps today that have had very important round 7s, and this is certainly another one. Let's see how Virtus.pro shape up. We're going to have a bit of a presence outside straight away from Geekay. I think there's not really much to do outside other than try to disrupt or try to distract Virtus.pro. I think maybe a little bit of utility that's been put out there. We'll see as the round goes on. But for the time being, we've got Dan on the Glaz this time. Glaz is something that Virtus.pro have used consistently on Lair until it was banned away from them. They've shown some, real ability with it, real power, and it's no surprise to see it being brought along again.
Absolutely. And leaning towards all the operators that we, again, kind of accustomed with Virtus.pro. Rorik has been an absolute demon, as we spoke about many a times already today. But look at the numbers throughout the series for those who are curious on it so far. Rorik currently sits way at the top on 22 and 10. On the other side, everyone is negative or even, except for Yogg, who's currently 17 to 11. By comparison, it's that 14 and 6 for Passion, 22 and 10 for Rorik. But here we go, Groovy's in, finding one for himself. The punish comes through, though, as Nako gets one back in response. That shield goes down, impact over the top, not quite doing enough damage to put him anywhere near low, as Askers now drops away.
And that's a pretty good exchange for Geekay there. Taking the Ying off the board is going to be a big loss of utility for Virtus.pro. When you now start looking towards an execute, you think, where are they going to go in? How are they going to create the space? They're not going to be able to do it behind those Candelas. It also limits their smokes. They've still got 2 left available after the one that Dan has just used. So Nako will need to get into position to be able to support him. The track comes out, and that's going to pick up Ask down in the basement, exactly the same as Pasha was playing the Soulless. But look at the clock, a minute left to go. Virtus.pro not really done any work towards site just yet, so need to make sure that they're getting a move on.
They do. I wonder if the same issues begin to befall them in terms of speed, but here we are asking questions. Hello? Hello? Surely Yogg dies here? Yeah, no. How is Yogg still alive? Guys? Are we good? Finally finished off, and Rorik gets the one downstairs. A 2 versus 1. Sarks all alone. A C4 up over the top. Alley-oop, not quite finishing him up, but the bullets, they do the job. Into a 1 versus 1, and Rorik has got the track on, but look at it, Tim. He is turned tail, hiding inside a bathroom. This plank could go down in the corner here, and the nice part is, of course, he's got the track on. He has the information. Out he comes, steps out towards one side. Rorik looking for him, but finding nothing. Sarks ready with the shotgun, and finds him at range. Geekay taking the first round of this half.
Yeah, Virtus.pro have sold that round a little bit there. The failure to pick up Yogg, you know, you feel like Naquo's maybe just got to extend himself around that corner just a little fraction more. Doesn't have to be a huge amount. He's not going to put himself in any real danger. But the fact that Yogg is able to turn around, come back inside and get a kill, yes, he was always going to lose his life in that position. You can't let him take somebody with him. Big mistake there. And I think without that happening, Virtus.pro are then in, you know, a man advantage situation. They don't come down to a 1v1 at the end, and they don't give Sarks the opportunity. It was the two golden boys of the game so far up against each other. Sarks versus Rorik, and this time, surprisingly, somewhat, Rorik lost out.
Oh boy, all right. I mean, you can't win a multi. You can't be an absolute god all day long. He's already topping the pops for his team and for the whole lobby, actually, to be fair. He's playing incredibly well. But for Sarks to be able to give his team a little bit of a shot in the arm to try and close that gap once more, that's a bit of a blessing. Otherwise, we'd be looking at a 5-2, and I think then we all begin to think the game is only going one way. As it stands, though, there is only one round between them. Geekay, I think, sorely need this round. Can't keep on going 1-for-1 all day long, else you will walk away as the loser. Look at this from Yogg. Cheeky little bugger as well, hoping to find someone on the spawn peak, but no one's giving him anything.
I love the attempt. I love the aggression that Geekay are bringing to this one. You know, let's try and get ourselves into these rounds in a positive way. Let's take the fight to Virtus.pro and let them know that every inch that they want to take is going to come at serious cost. We're going to be attacking onto Bar and Gaming. Gruby is on the Solus, or Gruby, sorry, was on the Solus this time. He was playing over Kitchen Dining side, just trying to slow down any kind of solar and master push, and he's not going to be slowing anything down as he gets taken down. As you say, too easy really for Virtus.pro. Just managed to create one of those lose-lose situations for him. Pasha does take some damage along the way on the Capitao. They really don't want to be losing that utility. Still has 2 fire arrows and 2 smoke arrows in pocket. And that would be a big loss, as well as 2 impact EMPs as well. Pasha needs to just play it safe.
Ask at least finding that maybe he hasn't been quite up there on the kills department this game. At least can give information over to his team and make out the appropriate calls on what needs to be done. Spoke a lot about Solus and Pulse already today, both filling a slightly different role, but also still similar in that it can give information over to your teammates. Now, I imagine what Ask is trying to do is now got that push coming across this top floor. He'll be able to support those that are playing upstairs in Library once the push gets so far forward. My main worry, though, Tim, is again coming back to what we spoke about a little bit in the last round, is time-wise, right? Like, Virtus.pro aren't in a bad spot here, but there is still quite a lot of work to do upstairs to force these players on the top floor away, and we're down to the last 80 seconds.
Getting onto the balcony, but need to be careful. Look at the shotgun just off to your left, waiting. Is the sentry of Sarks. And he just knows that there's going to be some pressure coming. The scanner will tell them, but not sure they're aware of just how aggressively Sarks is playing this. As soon as they step across that window, Rorik is going to get, I was going to say he's going to get absolutely blasted by that shotgun, but Sentry does choose to drop the way it goes in. Just such a beautiful use of the nades. I know it's simple, but I just love it every time we get to watch a move like that.
Poor C4 from Ask as well. The splits between both players. The second one comes up, does no damage either. Daycro doing his best imitation of Neo from the Matrix and dodging around those explosives, it feels. Sark's down underneath, ready and waiting. Again, no C4s with which to work, but he's hoping to be able to support his team upstairs. Don't quite think he'll be given the chance, though. Down to the final few seconds here. Last 20 in a 5 versus 3. Can Virtus.pro get it over the line?
Just a bit concerned. Oh, I was going to say I'm a bit concerned they don't know about Sarks' presence, but as it is, they do manage to get the kill from the window. Dan closes out another flawless round. That's actually the 3rd flawless round that Virtus.pro have had during this game, by the way. And as you say, Des, 1-for-1 doesn't really suit Geekay. They need to start chaining rounds together as soon as they can do, because that sees them now 5-3 down. Only 2 more rounds required for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, that was a much better round overall. Although it was slower and more composed, I don't blame them. I think they were trying to deal with the X factors, the fringe elements, you might say, at the other side, and especially trying to make sure they cleared that top side systematically. It would have been so easy to swing on there and try and put pressure on, ignore the fact of droning entirely and get bitten on the backside by Sarks, who's standing at that window really aggressively. It would have made life very hard for them. So yes, it was slow and controlled, but I think with due cause there, because it has given them a round win. They're up to 5-3. Now we go into what we so often describe as such a critical round. Virtus.pro win this one, they're up 6-3. You can't see Geekay closing that 3-round gap. If Geekay can win it, There is a world where we probably go to overtime. It's unlikely to go on to win the whole thing, but at least they can keep it close. So this one for me really will be what decides which way this game goes. We find ourselves going to OT, or the Virtus.pro take a clean 2-0 and qualify for EWC, as well as a game against Falcons in the upper bracket.
I think no matter what happens in this matchup, when you look at the day as a whole, I think coming in, it would have been reasonable to expect, especially with the performances that we've seen, that Virtus.pro and G2 would have been the two to qualify to Esports World Cup. So one way or another, we are going to have a little bit of a surprise here. I think, you know, Falcons and Geekay being the ones to take those first 2 spots would be maximum surprise. So I think we're going to sit somewhere around medium surprise as an absolute minimum. Virtus.pro are looking pretty good at the minute to be, you know, at least sort of 50% of those predictions coming correct. See, the fact that library is clear gives them an opportunity to open that mezzanine wall, but just conscious of the push from underneath there. So Dan drops down to make sure that he's not going to take any damage. Rorik does take a little bit on the rappel there, so needs to be careful. And Virtus.pro, 50 seconds into the round, will now start trying to move these players who are holding on to particularly mezzanine.
Oh. When you get a freebie as the wall starts to open up, he's crouched down now, has to know the next one will go. Look at the little slither he's found himself here. Only has to crouch and he exposes his booty on one side or the other. But they need more pressure. You've got Sky set underneath here. I think he's looking to try and do some damage himself, but obviously a little bit hesitant to step inside so far. But they've got to make him move one way or another, Tim.
That's it, Grubik.
Never mind, he's dead.
I was just going to say, Grubik can just stand still. Grubik can literally stand still, and his presence is enough to prevent them from going in. But they have Virtus.pro once again found the answer and found the entry. Also worth mentioning, Geekay have only got 1 entry out of 9 rounds so far. They have been playing this almost constantly in a 4v5, and it has taken its toll. There is no two ways about it. I think they're actually doing well to have got 3 rounds in those circumstances. Missed opportunity as they went for the nade. Sarks will not know how lucky he was, and they punished as well as Pasha taken down. Sarks continues to be the thorn in their side.
Not for much longer as Skies has managed to get underneath and collects him after his march down through lobby stairs and can now rise up through blue. Happy that they've got control of this side of the map. But Tim, again, time becomes a bit of a stinger here. Yes, they've only lost 1, they've taken down 2. That's not the end of the world. But they've got 45 seconds to get full top floor control and go for a plant. This is a lot for Virtus.pro to accomplish.
Yeah, it really is. Ask does manage to find 1, and that's giving Geekay at least a glimmer of hope. We can see the top floor. Ask is going to have to drop away, though. Look at his health. It's so low at this point. You really can't be taking too many fights. So it is going to come down to that site defense as they start to drop away. All of them now returning down onto site. Next few gunfights are going to be particularly important. Nakor going for the plant. Ooh. There's one as we see Yoga managing to get the trade, but the plant will be successful. Ooh. Gets away with it. It's all up to Dan. Do they know his location? Doesn't quite see the head of the player. As soon as they try to strafe across, Ask has got to be careful here because he's so low health.
He's got to land a miracle shot here. Won't quite do it. And now Dan can just open up the wall, has the range that he needs, sees the body, takes the shot himself. So dangerously low. Someone has got to swing him at some point, or at least force out the temporary 1 versus 1. Here's Ask, and sure enough, gets the down that he needs. I've been critical of this man today a couple of times, but a triple kill when his team most need it. Draws the rounds down to just a 1-round difference. Geekay aren't out of this yet.
We continue on the back and forth, and Dan, I really thought that was a winnable situation for him there. He was down to 20 seconds. He allows Ask. He's, I think, too focused on opening up the line onto the plant spot. He's too worried about the soft wall. You can spray through that later. As soon as Ask takes the peak, he's in serious trouble. That's the fight that he needed to focus on. Those were the bullets that he needed to land. Couldn't do it. And Geekay get themselves a good retake there. 4-5 then. But as we have said, if they can't get back-to-back rounds, they will lose this game. Virtus.pro will win it out if it just goes 1 for 1 for 1. So, Geekay, now's your time. You've got to double down. You've got to find at least another round in tandem to the one you've just got to bring us back to a level playing field.
Let's go, retake, boys.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, it's making things entertaining, Tim. I was really worried we're coming towards Chalet, and I know, again, Virtus.pro haven't won this map over the last 6 months. I know that Geekay haven't lost it over the last 6 months. I believe it's 0-3 and then 2-0, respectively. But they they are giving us one hell of a good fight. I really thought Virtus.pro would get the chance to run away with it, but even they're seeing now in the second half that the time waits for no one. It's hurting them a little bit here in the same way that it did Geekay. And yes, it's counted on Ash to have a big step-up round when he's been quite poor throughout the series so far. But when it mattered most, he's gone massive. And they've still got a chance, like I say, to bring this towards overtime. I don't think they get a 7-5 win here to send us through to Fortress in regulation. I think it is going to demand overtime. We were joking a little bit on our podcast yesterday and saying, could you imagine a world where like both results go the way that we don't expect, where Falcons managed to beat G2 and we see GK manage to beat Virtus.pro? We were saying it feels unlikely and like one of them could happen, but you can't see a world where both happen. Yet something just gives me a feeling if we get to Fortress, it ain't going to be as clear-cut as many would like to think.
Yeah, it's certainly starting to look like more of a grey area, isn't it, as this one continues on and GK slowly stack up the rounds and slowly just keep clawing back at Virtus.pro, keeping them in distance at the moment. I have the Don 6 goes out, clear out the double window. It is a Master Office attack, so double window particularly important, even if it's a phantom pressure, but we saw the value of double window earlier. I like this from the Capitao early on. That's going to allow that wall to be opened up. They try to take the Selma off, can't find the charge. We hear the detonation, so the smoke does its job. Great stuff, great use of utility, and that's just made it really difficult to play inside of Master Bedroom now.
Ooh. Tuck in tight, baby. Then Toe's going to be toasty. But they probably assume that he's not here. They won't think of that he's out on the bout. They'll think he's probably inside bathroom or a step back, which gives them a little bit of room. They still challenge on towards the window from here. Will they safely assume they can step in and more fire comes out? But again, he's able to move. That's also all the smoke coming out from Pasha Tim. Yet no one on the side of Virtus.pro has made moves off the back of it. They feel a little bit uncoordinated right now.
I can only assume that they know that the fire is not doing the job. Ask gets taken down. You've got an opportunity to spray through that floor from below. If they don't, they're going to find out pretty quick that Grube is still in position. Just the fact that the second, there you go. Just the fact that the second fire arrow went in told me that they were aware. Holding the angle onto bathroom, he knows. He's just waiting for the opportunity. As soon as he moves across, he takes the shot a little bit too soon. It tells Grube that he needs to be careful. How is he surviving for this long? He's on his belly. He's crawling like a snake. He's gonna get himself to safety. Unreal play from Grube.
What an escape artist. He has survived everything coming his way. 2 or 3 angles being contested. Fire.
And now he's back.
And now he's going back for seconds. This absolute madman. He's in a great spot, but now will he get challenged? No, looks away at the wrong time. But Skies has rolled him over into a second in the round. Almost makes it a third, but no, Yupa. Second kill on the map coming out, but he's got to win something special here. They don't get away with it in the end, Tim, but my God, Groovy pulling off something like heroic there.
We did predict the problem for GK, maybe Virtus.pro just going 1 for 1 with them. We find ourselves now in a situation where that does continue. Virtus.pro go on to match and series point, and they have 2 opportunities at it. If the pattern continues, then Virtus.pro will be the second team in EML to qualify to the Esports World Cup. If GK can pull off something special, get 2 rounds in a row, we will head into overtime. You suggested that might be where we were heading, Des. We'll see after the next couple of rounds, but I've got a feeling that Virtus.pro are going to find one of them. They are just looking so good at problem solving at the minute.
They are, yeah. Again, if we could have seen GK battle that back, I would have had a little bit of optimism. Maybe they win this round, but as we've said all half, they've got to do it back to back, and they struggle to accomplish that up to this point. It's going to be a Master Office defense to potentially see the conclusion of this series, and Virtus.pro booking their ticket to Paris for the EWC. And again, that reminder about what everyone's excited about for EWC. 1, fat prize pool on the line, but most importantly, the winner gets an auto immediate qualification to SI 27. That is going to be something special, and no doubt what every team has got their eye on. Not having to worry about what happens in stage 2, how you perform at the major, potentially last chance calls. You can put your feet up and just enjoy the ride at that point, Tim, knowing full well you've got a chance to lift that hammer in February.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying it will be the first confirmed qualification as well. So you'll be the...
I will check, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
Just double check. I think I'm right in saying that. So you'll be the first on the list, like guaranteed.
Yes, even Dark Zero aren't 100% confirmed, but they may well be if they make it to EWC.
Yeah,
based purely on points they get from the league itself.
Yeah, so I might be right. I might be wrong. We'll see. It depends how it shapes out and how Dark Zero do in the NAL playoffs, of course. So let's get back to the match at hand. Round 11, 6-4 Virtus.pro. One more round. We'll see them not only take the map, but the series having already won on Lair. 7-3, you can see at the top of your screen. They've just won on Master and Master Bedroom and Office. They are back attacking Master Bedroom and Office again. Castle Barricades being dealt with fairly summarily as we see the Gon 6 and the nades doing their jobs. That's going to be the access they need at least. 1 minute 50 left on the clock. Good quick work from Virtus.pro so far. More than aware of Gruby's position this time. This time he's going to be on the castle and just looking. He's got the super shot so he can open up the vertical angles. Nice little pre-fire. Just predicts the movement of Nequo and takes the head off the ace. Beautiful stuff.
Oh, man. Yeet some nades at the man. Make him move. Firing a nade at the same time. We saw some brilliant stuff done earlier on Lair. Like, why not do the same again? 3 nades at once, I believe it was, in towards Nequo. He had no chance of surviving.
Come on.
They're getting away with nothing. The nade, you heard it in his hand. It doesn't go anywhere. Gruby, just name the spot after him, man. Just name it. Come on.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. I won't let you quite get away with that. Rorik does manage to find him. That's going to be 4 versus 3. But honestly, the damage is done. You've got the sense taken out. You've got the ace taken out. So no hard breach, no planting utility. You know, really bad stuff from Virtus.pro. Really poor there. Both of them just running below the peak hole that Geekay had opened up and Gruby taking full advantage of it. So really well played from him on the castle. Honestly, probably gets his team a win in round 11 because at least the 12. We're going to have these smoke going in. If you hop in here, you're almost gonna die. Just see him have to move away. 2 versus 4, though. It's looking good for GK as they hop in through the window. 1 taken down. There's the second.
Nice.
And we are at least going to see all 12.
Well, I'm glad they learned on the 3rd time of asking how to deal with him, Tim. It was to get below and destroy the floor underneath him, and therefore he had no option but to move and ultimately die. Just took a little bit of time for Virtus.pro to adjust to that one, I'm afraid. But either way, it's GK with a result. Still with a chance here to take us to OT, but they've got to be winning this next round. It has to get them there, and it's got to be a big performance coming out.
This is the real question now, isn't it? It's like, yep, you've got a couple of rounds, but as we've said, they keep trading rounds. They haven't had 2 in a row since they managed to get round 4 and 5 together. So it's not only about getting 2 rounds back-to-back now, it's about doing it under pressure as well, because you know that you've not achieved this as of yet, and now you've got Virtus.pro, you know, taking the entire series if you don't get it done this time. So it is a big ask here for GK, but they're going to give it everything they've got. They're in kitchen and dining. If we have a look, last time they've only defended this once. It was back in round 9. Good choice for them. It was a site that they won. It was the 2v1, if you remember. Came down to a 2v1 at the end. It was an Ask 3k on Ella. He managed to get that final kill onto Dan, and he was super low health at the time as well. So I like that they've picked a site that they've got confidence on there. They've played it once, won it once. But I do think it was quite a close round for them, and I don't think this is a guarantee.
Nothing is guaranteed, Tim. Not given what's on the line for both of them, 100%. So let's see how they start with their clear. Got Sky's working his way through the basement. Last time around, he was dancing a lot around lobby before he came his way out towards blue. And if you recall, he got that trade onto one of the players that managed to get a kill onto one of his players at top of blue. So he was able to do quite a lot of work below, but here he's gone straight up on towards the roof instead. I imagine Ass is going to be the main one they want to try and deal with here, running around on that Solus. Once again, not playing on the pulse, but feeding information to the team on who's on drones where gadgets are coming in from, where drones are rolling in from. Yeah, I think we're very used to it by now. When you see drones moving in a part of the map, normally 2 or 3 of them, you know what's going on. You know the focus is going to be on that part of the map.
Similar
Here we are again, by the way.
Yeah, similar clearance to that we saw last time. Gruby, as we've seen, has shown himself to be an absolute pro escape artist when it comes to these settings. Is he able to just keep himself in position for as long as possible? Nequo is down, and that is going to be the Dockerby as well. I don't think he's long for this world as he's being chased down. Starks take him out. So that is a big loss with those phone calls gone. We're not even halfway through the round yet. GK have the advantage in terms of manpower. Gruby is going to suffer a little bit of utility going up there, but it's only an absolute fraction of damage that gets done to him. And right now, I think GK are looking good in this round.
They are, and again, I was a bit nervous coming in. I thought there's no way they can win 2 back-to-back, right? But they're not far, I don't want to jinx them, but they're not miles off doing it because Virtus.pro haven't got tons of map control here, let's not forget. And, of course, have lost the initial entry with their main Intel operator. They've still got Rorik, one of those scans available to him. But after that's been used, they are basically out at that point. Little cheeky love tap coming in from the shot run towards As to let him know we do know that you're there. Please move. But they so badly need this kill, and I don't think he wants to give them anything. Goes out, and that is the perfect timing. As Dan is stood there with a grenade in his hand, can do absolutely nothing about it. The trade is there from Pasha, expecting a swing, but there's nothing coming in from the side of Geekay. Can they get this done in the last 45? Tim, they've got to win a 3 versus 4.
Yeah, that trade could be a little bit too little too late, though, couldn't it? The damage may well be done. 3 versus 4. Low health for Rorik, and they're aware of the push. This is going to be a cheap kill. No! Pasha somehow overturns it. Manages to get Sarks. Now, there is a surprise. 3 versus 3. 25 seconds left to go. Still so much work to be done, though. Virtus.pro nowhere near sight. They've taken far too long fighting over Library. This is going to be just a last gas, just rush into sight. Groovy manages to get Skies. 10 seconds. I don't see any way that they do this now. Pasha, about 3 HP left, gets a kill. Likely to be a meaningless exit frag. 4 seconds left. Doesn't have diffuser in hand. Takes the quad. Surely doesn't get the ace. No, he won't. And we are going to overtime, Des.
Wow. I mean, if he managed to get a spray onto the soft wall and pick up the last player, then I would have lost my mind. But he doesn't get away with it. And Geekay, against all odds, have battled their way back through. And as Tim says, they take us into OT. I'm not sure who starts on what side here going into OT. We'll find out, of course, in just a second. But they could yet send us into Fortress, Tim. Again, on paper, it's not a map that Geekay are going to have the best success on against Virtus.pro. It is a map that they like, mind you. They're banning tendencies when we say that. When we say they like the map, banning tendencies looking at, do they first ban it during vetoes, i.e. it's their permaban, or do they leave it until quite late? Geekay leave it quite late. Although Virtus.pro are a very, very good Fortress team, I don't think Geekay are going to be all that bothered about going there. Looking at it on second time of asking, it could be a very, very interesting affair when we get there.
Well, Geekay, I've kept calling them the mystery team throughout the stage. We never know what we're going to get, and I'm going to say the same for them on Fortress. I expect a very good Fortress out of Virtus.pro. I think all of us do. That's why we've been talking about this requirement for a 2-0 for Geekay, if at all possible. They don't want to risk Fortress, but as I've said, we've consistently throughout the stage just not really known what we're going to get from them. We've not been confident at any point that, you know, there isn't a surprise coming from them, and maybe that's what they give us in map 3, and maybe it is that, you know, ultimate surprise outcome of Falcons and Geekay being the first 2 qualifiers, and Virtus.pro and G2 being in a position where you lose, you go home in the next round of the playoffs in that lower bracket. But for now, we continue on in overtime. It's the best of 3 rounds, effectively. Geekay on the defense, so that would suggest that they have the advantage. They are going to defend the top floor, Master and Office. They played there 3 times, they won it twice. And Virtus.pro have wasted far too long over these library clearances in the past.
Okay, well, both teams have struggled with the clock on Chalet. It wasn't quite the case back on map number 1, but map number 2, it has haunted them both, and you feel that the pressure might now well be on Virtus.pro, given they're on the attacking side. As Tim says, that has been their curse throughout that second half, especially those last 2 rounds when it feels like Geekay started to hit a groove. And dare I say, Tim, a lot of it came down to the man that was on your screen a second ago, Groovy. Whether he's playing on Mez or playing up around Solar, he has wasted so much time in multiple rounds now. Not always got kills off the back of it, but the time that he's wasted, the utility that he has drawn away from Virtus.pro has been absolutely incredible. And if they get stuck up trying to clear him again, we're in exactly the same conversation come the end of this round.
Natural went out from Starks, did not do any damage. Too easy of a pre-fire. Dan takes a ton of damage, so does Ask, though. He does manage to dish them out in return, at least. And they still have a Nitro in hand of Upo. So, still that explosive possibility for later in the round. Halfway through, we've lost the Deimos and we've lost the Castle. Ask half health, Dan half health. But Dan puts his 50 HP to great use. Headshot onto Sarks. 4 versus 3. Advantage Virtus.pro. Control of Library and plenty of time left on the clock.
Oh boy. Oh, and that's so crucial. A couple more kills flowing their way. That's what Virtus.pro need to see this over the line. They've got a 4v2 with 60 seconds to play. Most teams will bite your hand off for this kind of advantage at this point in time. You're down to Yupa and Yogg. Yogg has been left in so many 1vx's, and no surprise, he's won out a few of them as well. Been really clutch for this team throughout the stage at various points. Yupa arguably a little bit less so, but Yogg playing aggressively here, daring the swing to come on through. He really wants this kill, but they ain't going to give it to him just yet, Tim. It's a slither of an angle. They're trying to get rid of the barbed wire at the same time, and he doesn't want to give it away, but no, he loses out. Rorik down onto his belly like a snake. Sky's there for the close, and Virtus.pro once again up to series point with a chance of locking in EWC.
What a peek that was from Rorik on the office door. Absolutely beautiful. Just changes up his position. He knows that the shots are going to ring above his head, and he manages to find the kill on to Yogg. Yogg didn't have much of a choice in that situation. You know, you may be forgiven for looking at that, thinking, stop it, you know, you let them play into you. But look, they're in a 2v4. They've got to make a move at that point. They've got to get something going. They can't just let the pressure build onto multiple sides of them. So it was, you know, fair enough. He's got to take the challenge. But Virtus.pro, they were equal to it. So they struggled on the attack, only managing to get 2 in regulation time, but they take the first opportunity, round 13, to secure another one. They now go on to the defense. It's going to be top floor again. We've seen plenty of it in this matchup. Virtus.pro, they've already failed on 2 series point attempts. They've now got another 2.
The question is, can they get it done? Because in rounds 11 and 12, they could not. Granted, of course, we have sides. What's part of this too? Well, as Geekay lost their previous round, they get to choose any of the 4 sites if we do go to round 15. We've criticised them a lot for being slow throughout this game on their attacking side. We said the same about Virtus.pro. Geekay have got to shake off that defensive rust that maybe they've picked up over the last 7 rounds, though, and show they can get this one done. It's now or never. Otherwise, they drop down for that fated game against Rebels for a second chance at making it to EWC tomorrow.
Double window is opened by Geekay, just having a look across the lineup. They've got Sarks on the Nomad. The air jabs last time were used on this side of the map, but it looks like this time it's going to be to protect him playing out on the double window. Previously, it was to protect the players playing on that bathroom balcony. Instead, they are just going to use the Sense light screens to create a little bit of safety for piano window and for bathroom window as well. We've seen quite a lot of action around bathroom window, just looking to pressure that spot that we saw Groovy playing in earlier as well, at sort of just above the solar stairs. So 5 versus 5, 2 minutes 10, plenty of time left on the clock, and a ping of the player underneath Pasha. It will be impact nade in hand, looking for an opportunity for a bit of verticality, but have they recognised Skies down in the basement? They will know.
They know. They know.
He doesn't know. They know.
Go on, just tease him an eyeball. Just a head, a fraction of hair, anything. And there it is, but no! Skies is finally down.
Guys.
And they must know. I don't know why he's gone back in towards that one. He was asking for a lot to be able to try and get anything out of that gunfight, but he will get finished off here, and that's the entry. However, Tim, we're halfway through the round. It's slow again.
I've no idea. Skies has hurt them there. There was no need to commit so heavily. He takes a peek, he takes a couple of shots, just disappear. Go into Snowmobile, just pause them, force them to chase you. You could burn another 30 seconds even if you lose your life. But instead, he just kept walking back into the bullets. Not very good from him at all. 1 minute 10 left to go. Dan and Pasha low health as well. And Virtus.pro, they are hanging on by a thread at the minute, to be honest. Pasha out on blue stairs. The pressure's going to mount on him very, very quickly as well. We can see the track coming in. Everything is stacking up against him. 55 seconds left to go. Geekay. Time is going to be the factor, but they get Rorik. They're going to get Pasha real soon. I feel like we could be going to 15, but no, Dan steps out and gets Yupo 3v3. The trade is there, but 40 seconds and now time is looking okay all of a sudden. But how? How does Pasha win that?
Swapping
What? Has Sarks flashed himself or something there? That didn't look right to me. Looking completely the wrong way, and they knew that he was on the stairs. Yogg with a wonderful shot, though. Refuses to get knocked out here. Knocked down here even. That's going in for the plant. Yogg on for a 4K if he can get this done. Pasha now rounding his way out towards top library. Diffuser is down, so a 2v1 is resumed. This is not looking pretty as Yogg gets back into his safe place. Out on balcony. And just waits for him to step across. Positions have been taken. This is looking good, and surely is theirs for the win. Tim, you can say the line again.
We're going all the way to 15, Des.
Sure we are. We did say, can you believe they can do it back to back? Well, now they've got no choice, Tim. It's do or die. Virtus.pro win this one. They're the ones through to EWC. If we can see Geekay pull it off, then they send us to map 3. Fortress will await.
Yeah, look, I feel like that defense was a little bit poor from Virtus.pro. Like I say, Sky's down in basement to begin with. I feel like he could have played that situation better and wasted a bit more time. They can't ignore him down there, especially if they're trying to play around balcony, which they were, trying to play around library, which they were, because he can pop up at any time. Pasha does a great job here to bring it back to a 2v2, but he's then miles away. Again, giving the opportunity on that office door. This is kind of the inverse of what I was saying earlier. In the 2v4, Yogg has to make a play. Of course he does. That's why he challenges that door. But Virtus.pro, you 2v2. Time's ticking down. You don't have to really make a play there. You know, you can wait for the player to push the door. You can take up a deeper angle. You've got other options there, and I feel like Virtus.pro overcommitted to a number of positions there. And Geekay, they forced the errors and took full advantage of it. They are the benefactor in that round at least. It's 7-7 now. Virtus.pro, they managed to get the attack done in round 13, and they double down and do it again. They're going to be going into dining and kitchen, and it is a site that they have not yet won on the attack.
Oh boy. Okay. I mean, it's a good way to really put the screws to them and see what they can prove. But as both teams have struggled with them, we've said it so many rounds in a row now, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing myself say it. Both have struggled with time, and I think this site is going to demand a lot of them, especially if they have to push their way in towards library. And guess who's there once again, Tim? It's Groovy. Sat there, behind a wall. This time, by the way, electrified. Previously, it hasn't been. They've got it opened up very, very easily. My only worry here by double reinforcing it off and castle barricading it off is he now can't challenge on towards that window. So he can't assist with any kind of pressure in towards library itself. Yes, he can watch front door. Yes, he can challenge the double window. But as for his actual impact in towards library, it is now non-existent.
Yeah, really, you'd need to be... The thing is, they don't necessarily need to worry about library too much. It's not a bar and gaming site. It's a kitchen dining site. So really, they're looking to hold on to office and master. So
True.
Grubby is just out here as a little bit of extra time wasting. They just want him to live his life for as long as possible. So I actually quite like this from Geekay, and that is just a brilliant start. Grubby managing to pick up Rorik. That's exactly what they wanted from him. Geekay looked like they could be cruising towards map 3 as Sarks takes down Nequo. They are having absolutely none of it. You can send the Candelas in all you want, but it is too little, too late. Pasha goes through the door. He's chasing shadows. There's nobody on library stairs for him to take a kill or even take a fight with. 2 versus 5. There's plenty of time left on the board, but I honestly don't see that Virtus.pro get this done.
Oh, you can't be missing those kind of shots either. He's whiffing the lot here, and Groovy wins it out. Might not be top of the leaderboard, Tim, but for me, the MVP of this map, he has wasted so much time and won so many rounds for his team, and they're going to end it in fine form, a flawless round to send us through to map 3. To cause what many would probably view as the biggest upset of playoffs.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fair description. Virtus.pro have looked so solid through stage 1. Fortress is a map that they love. 4-1 recent record on their 74% defensive win rate. They are going to be tough to break down, make no mistake about it. Geekay, though, they showed that they were able to dig deep on Chalet, taking them, reeling them back in, getting them to overtime. And even after losing round 13, able to then win 2 in a row to get it done and bring us here to map 3. So one way or another, this becomes effectively a best of 1, and we will have a winner by the end of it. Bans come through. It's going to be a Goyo ban, which is an interesting one. Clash will join, and then it's going to be Monty and Snake on the other side.
All right, and we've seen a bunch of these bans very much following throughout the series, you know, especially the Monty and the Snake. The other side, Clash, is certainly an interesting one, maybe more of a statement of intent on the side of Geekay, that they do want to run some shields here in this first half. I mean, you can, of course, take away one more when we get to the end of round 3, but they can't take them all away. It's probably the key one, which is why that Clash was left towards the second ban. I always thought they're leaning towards a Goyo ban. This map, a lot of tight doorways to work your way through. Goyo can just waste so much time by himself that it can make attacks absolutely infuriating. So I think Geekay here is trying to give themselves the ability to take a lot of map control quickly. A shield will certainly allow that. Not having a Goyo on side is going to allow that. Maybe a read into what was going wrong for them across our first 2 maps was about the speed element, and they're trying to course correct that here in map 3.
Let's get into it then. Geekay versus Virtus.pro. It is 1 apiece in this best of 3. Virtus.pro took Lair 7-3. Geekay took Chalet 8-7. We found ourselves on Fortress for the decider. Virtus.pro start on the defense. 74% win rate historically for them here on Fortress on the defense. And they're going to start us off over on the master and the office and bathroom side of things. And let's see what we get out of Geekay on the attack. There's 2 kind of main attacks. We're actually starting to see Courtyard utilised in attacks a lot more than it was at the beginning. Quite often we'll get the old tower drop, push through dorms and games, take control of that south side and push on from there, get briefing, breach into bathroom and try to get a plant down. More recently we've been seeing this other side of push, which is try and get control of White Stairs and up to Top Eagle, drop the new tower and get yourself into master bedroom and work your way through from there with a little bit of pressure from Courtyard as well. Or of course, there's always the option of a little bit of a combination of both. We'll see how Geekay shape up, but 1 minute in, nothing too dramatic from either side just yet.
I imagine people probably are wondering, by the way, how the kills are stacking up throughout the series. And for the curious, Yogg currently 27 and 16. Sarks is 19 to 18. They are the only 2 positive players on the side of Geekay. On the other side, Rorik 28 and 16, Pasha 21 and 12. They're having a good show. And as things kick off from here, well, it looks like it's only getting better for Dan in particular. He's found one for himself, Pasha into another Yupa, getting one of his very few kills. He's got his 6th actually of the entire series so far. Yogg back for one more, but Dan, well, it's a killing machine, Tim, and he ain't stopping. Ask with it all to do against the final 2 players here. A pretty decisive first quick round, to be honest. We're only halfway in, and it's already drawing towards a close.
Yeah, I don't think Ask is going to use too much of this time. He knows the situation. He knows that he needs to just try and find a couple of these fights. I like the little bit of bait with the drone, sends it out, but nobody's biting. Virtus.pro well aware of what he's likely to try, and he's just hoping that they're going to give him something, but you can see Virtus.pro just not moving at the minute. They know that they don't need to. Toxic Babe canister goes out, does a little bit more damage to Ask, who already had some HP off the board. Maybe a bit of an opportunity for him here, but just hiding in behind that half wall. Comes around the corner, down with the DMR, manages to take down Ask. That's going to be Virtus.pro taking up their first defense.
Like I said with the bans, I thought we might see them moving at a bit more pace and trying to be a bit more proactive. I wouldn't quite call that a rush, but it was a more aggressive play coming out of the side of Geekay. Just unfortunately for them, when it's actually come to hitting in towards site, they've hit that brick wall that Dan can sometimes be. 3 kills in the round with the Aruni DMR and has very handily put them in the mud. So 1-0 to VP. We'll see how things go, as I imagine we'll step down towards Bunks and Gaming in round 2.
Yes, I would have thought so. That will be the switch. And Geekay never really got themselves established inside of the map there. They were punished every time they tried to step foot inside. So maybe this site will help them a little bit, because you've got that external pressure that you can get. You've got the breach down on the south side. Get that opened up. We've got Yupa on the ace, so I think that's going to be his target. Need to be careful of vending window, but other than that, teams generally manage it without too much of a problem. Get that breach open, and it just gives you an opportunity to put some pressure directly into site without necessarily having to take too much map control. And then, I mean, there's a lot of setup here that they're going to have to play into. The mirror windows, particularly in briefing, looking out towards bathroom, closing off that office-sided push. There's a lot of work that they're going to have to do. Just having a look, they do have the Twitch on side, so that's going to be a job for Ask to try and get in there, pop the glass out of that, and it'll be a big step for them if they can get that done.
Sure. Now got a lot to dig their way through, mind you. Double trap operators coming out, for example, just to impede them even further. They've realized, okay, maybe they're trying to go fast, well, we can slow them down with certain operator selections. And I say the 2 trap operators plus the mirror are certainly going to do a great job of that. The smoke too, no doubt. Now, where Rorik is currently sat, actually, is a very, very common spot. You just sit on that single window, which normally leads outside to the breach. You're always at risk, because if they find themselves spraying through that window, you're basically dead to rights. In fact, when I remember Twisted Minds playing here, Sean would lie under that window, wait for the right opportunity, and then step up when the aggression came out. And of course, you can see Geekay are conscious of that. They've got their eyes on that window in case someone does pop it open. But by the looks of it, Rorik has stepped away, so they're free to, at least for now, get access in towards site.
I like the second Selma that came out there, just opening up that kind of partition wall, if you want to call it that, between one site and the other. So it gives a really long angle all the way through towards Old Tower side from the breach. So like that from Geekay. Going to make it difficult for the defenders inside of sight. No damage done so far to Virtus.pro though. Going to see the track come in onto Dan. They haven't actually extended themselves too far either. If we have a look, basically about as far as they are playing away is this position. Dan inside of bathroom at the minute. He's going to continue fighting here. He's wasted half of the round so far. Once they get through Dan, they've also got Rorik to play through inside of briefing. So Geekay, lots of work to be done here in a minute 15.
I think he will win it, yeah. There's no way. Ask. Come on, man. You can take half a second and ensure that's a headshot. Like, Christ.
Pasha takes down Yoga, 4 versus 5. We'll see how much of a problem it is.
Oh,
and it's
God.
a big one as they lose 3 players with Ask not being able to pick up what should have been a freebie. That manages to get Sarks. 5v1, and it looks like this round is almost certainly over. Yupa's going to try to get something going. He does have 1 Selma left in pocket as well. 40 seconds, does find 1. That prevents it at least being a flawless round. Going to pop the glass out of the mirror, see if anybody wants to give him another opportunity. 30 seconds left to go. Interestingly, I think the Selma charge, that's the wall it was thrown onto, and I'm not sure if it actually opened up. No, it doesn't look like it actually got the job done, so they're able to shoot that off as well. Virtus.pro have kept a really tight control of this site. Geekay have never been anywhere near it realistically, and as we see the clock tick down, there's very little that Yupa can do in this situation.
Except watch the clock run down to 0. Yep, I mean, Skies is on his backside. It could have been a nice kill to collect, but he won't get it. Again, I'm still just baffled that Ask has done all the hard parts there. He's got the drone in, he's smoked up the corridor so he can make a safe cross. Lined up a free kill onto a player that isn't moving and still can't collect the kill. That would have really helped free the team up for a push in towards Horse, or potentially to come in towards Eagle side and move down for there, knowing there's only 1 player you've got to worry about on that side of the map at that point. It's a bit of a whiff on this side, dies for free. Like, look, like, you know he's there, you droned him.
That F2 recon was tough, Des.
But I don't care, like, the first shot is, like, free. The first shot is free, Tim. He ain't even moving, brother. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think just getting caught up in the mix a little bit there, and like you say, taking the spray rather than just taking the time to pick out his shot particularly. DMR, I think he gets the kill there, but ultimately everybody at this level should be handling the F2 a little bit better than that. So Geekay,
just 1 shot, just tap. You haven't got to spray because I know that it's hard to control. Just a click.
Whichever you choose, Des, to be honest, they should be getting the kill there. Geekay find themselves 2 down then. Virtus.pro are going to be going to the 3rd choice defensive site downstairs. If they're able to come out, this is the round that Geekay need to win. If Virtus.pro are able to come out with a full defensive sweep here, honestly, I think we start looking towards kind of, you know, 7-1, 7-2 territory, because I could see Virtus.pro easily going 5-1 on the half, if not 6-0. So pivotal moment coming up for Geekay.
I want to see who's going to be the hero for them, really. And I know Yoga's had those moments throughout the series. As I mentioned, he was by far and away at the start of the map, 27 and 16. Leagues ahead of the rest of his team. Groovy's had an impact that you won't see reflected on the board, I think it's fair to say. Sark's had some good moments back in map 1 as well, but consistency, I'd say, has been their primary challenge. And on the other side, where Dan has been negative throughout the series so far, up to 5-0 after a couple of rounds, he is absolutely flying. So Geekay, I need to see them pull things together here. I said before, more coherency, playing more as a team. They've got the right idea, just not always quite the right amount of pace with which to execute what they've got in mind.
No challenge whatsoever on the top floor from Virtus.pro. They are happy to just play this one laterally on the defense, so it gives Geekay plenty of time to get themselves in there quickly, and work is being done by Groovy and Ask to open up the verticals. Need to be careful. Nitro comes out, not going to be successful. Not going to find its man. All it's going to do is open up extra verticals for them. They've got the impact EMP, so not a problem to deal with that. Get the hatch open, and this is good quick progress from Geekay. This is all within a minute 15. Yupo does take some damage there, so backs away, decides that's not the fight for him. But Virtus.pro right now, they are not playing inside because they've been forced out of it. I like this disruption from Geekay.
It's better for sure. Like, all the work is being done here to, like, utility-wise, make sure they can get control of what they need to. Hatches being opened up, vertical control being established. It's not bad, but very, very standard for the side that you need to get this one done. And then, of course, need to look towards med control as their main entry point. Typically, a shield is really good for this, but no shield on side means instead they're going to have to brute force their way through somewhat. But Virtus.pro so far looking mostly unbothered.
Deployed barrier.
The question is how unbothered do they remain once we get to that execute phase? 55 seconds
Courtyard
left to go.
push.
If GK are able to get themselves established to put the diffuser down on the ground, it could be a little bit of a different matter. Ask is going to try to push in. He needs to be careful here because he's got diffuser in hand. If he loses his life, he could leave this absolutely in no man's land. Takes a whole bunch of damage. 35 seconds left might mean they don't have time to recover a downed diffuser. Needs to be careful again. Naquo just dips himself away to safety. They did pick up the entry. Sark's taken down, and this is too easy for Virtus.pro. They're just having to wander on into their lines of sight. 4 versus 3, 20 seconds left to go. Upo does have diffuser in hand, but honestly, it is not a case of diffuser. It's not a case of putting that down on the ground. It's going in and getting kills, which they can't do, as Rorik manages to get the shotgun onto Yoga. 1 versus 3. Not going to be successful. Rorik with another, and that is a full defensive sweep for Virtus.pro. GK, the alarm bell should be ringing. I expect a tactical timeout.
I mean, a good example is looking at that attack, right? Like, how fragmented was it? Asker steps in towards side by himself. No one looking to play off a trade. Someone has dropped the hatch and just died for free. Yupa's lurking out towards the corridor on the north side. And yeah, it gets a nice little one-tap on towards Pasture. But outside of that, there's no pressure onto a target man in sight where they've isolated and realised if we kill that player, we get large control. We can then look for a plant off the back of this. At the start of the round was good, but it's the late round here that's really hurting GK and where the problems are really starting to reveal themselves. I'm a bit nervous to see whether or not they can get anything out of this half. Maybe off the back of attack timeout, as you suggested, Tim, they can see something coming.
Yeah, no surprise to see it called in, given the battering that they've had.
Look at this, by the way.
It's
Nothing else.
That was the point where I said
Nothing else.
Too easy. It's just too easy. It's just one by one. Not only is it one by one, but it's walking into lines of sight. You know, you're literally walking around a corner and somebody is sat ADS onto it. It's the easiest fight Virtus.pro are going to have all day long. Yeah, look, for GK right now, I don't know. They've not got anywhere near any of these 3 sites, realistically. They haven't even been in a position to put a diffuser down. They haven't had any site control. They haven't really prevented Virtus.pro from doing anything that they have wanted to do. And that is a big, big problem at the minute. So I think I would like to see GK in this second quarter, if you will, in the next 3 rounds that they've got on the attack. I'd like to see them focus on kind of single objectives, one at a time. So here for, you know, office and bedroom, that might be right. The initial objective is let's take game and dorms. And I'd just like to see them all focus on getting inside of the map, getting that area taken, and then moving on from there. I understand that is going to slow them down, and time has been a problem for them. But at the minute, I just feel like it's irrelevant because they're trying to do so many different things at once. They're getting caught out in 1v1s, 2v1s continuously, lose-lose situations, and they're just being punished. They're not even getting inside of the map a lot of the time. When they do, they're not getting control of anywhere. So that's why I would like to see them just use their numbers, go in, you know, if somebody's playing in dorms, go on 3v1, go and really take that advantage, get a shield up in their face, force them out of position, and make life really difficult for them. Even if you end up running out of time towards the end of the round and you've got to rush it a little bit, if you've got that man advantage, sometimes you can just brute force that and make it work.
Well, we'll see just how much they can get away with here, Tim, because it's very much focused on the execute with the line that they've got, which I don't hate. Back to basics, keep it simple, stupid, all that kind of good stuff. Surely with the Capital and the Shield and the Galaz on side, that is going to be the game plan. Just no getting shot in the back as you work your way up Eagle Stairs. That'll be most ideal. Now, looking in towards Hard Breach, only really in the hands of Askis. If they want to get inside Small Tower, if it's been reinforced off, then I need to do something about that. The nice thing for this site is you don't need tons of Hard Breach. Just a little bit often can be enough. Into this wall here, there's typically a rotate for the players that want to get back in towards site, but they can reinforce it off as they're doing now. So suddenly the importance of those Hard Breach gadgets in Ask's back pocket starts to go up.
You see the Toxic Babes coming out just to slow things down towards White Stairs, so it is very much that north-sided push coming along. And like I say, let's keep the numbers up. Let's make it difficult for them to hold you back. I like that nice pacing. Yoga gets himself up to the top. The problem is he hasn't been joined by his teammate, but he's paused, he's waiting, and he's hoping for that support. Pasha is going to prevent it coming in, though, as he finds a nice nitro onto the glass. Big loss there. They're trying to push the shield forward in towards site, and I like this bullying the players inside the site. It's just not quite working for GK, and I feel for them in this round.
If they had the glass, it'd be a different conversation, I think. You'd pressure them with Yarg, you'd obviously sit at range inside a smoke while going for a plant up with the Blitz, for example, or something like that. But as it stands, it's just not going to transpire that way. Losing Sarks early on is really going to sting them here. They've got a 2 versus 3 to try and recover. It's not looking good. And tell you what, that's looking pretty good, though. Fair play. That's a correction for earlier on's missed opportunity. In towards site he goes, now looking for a second. Pasha's a little bit better in the moment, though. So 1v2 for Groovy to keep his team in it and not see this go to a 4-0.
6-2 now. Pasha really getting himself into this one. Skies, there's an opportunity there for Groovy to get the kill and bring it to a 1v1. He just didn't quite find his shots, and Skies closes him down at horse. 4-0 now for Virtus.pro. Like I said, I do feel for GK a little bit in that round. They kind of did what I suggested going in. There was 3 of them that pushed white stairs, and they had the glass over in tower as well. And the way that Yogg used that shield to force that movement inside a site, the kill came in. It was, you know, they were there, they were ready, they were waiting for that movement, and it was nicely done as a team to get themselves something. But, and this is always the big but when you're playing a team like Virtus.pro, Virtus.pro just had answers on top of answers and were waiting elsewhere to punish them. So it's almost like, you know, in chess sometimes you might give up a piece to capture a more important one. You may sacrifice a pawn to catch a queen, and it was that kind of situation. It was like, yeah, we're going to bring them into this kill zone, we're going to give them a little bit of something, but then there's 2 kills in return, and Virtus.pro just did that so well.
Well, I think the question now probably many have on their minds are, will GK get a single round out of this half? Because as things stand, the answer is feeling increasingly like no.
5 seconds left.
A map like this with a bit more complexity to it, where there's been a lot of challenges for them, they've not been able to problem solve their way through it, unfortunately, and Virtus.pro just looks a little bit too comfortable. So, despite what I said earlier about both teams liking this map in terms of their batting tendencies, Virtus.pro do look like they're on a bit of a different level right now.
It's what we expected, I think, from Fortress. We've seen Virtus.pro just be so dominant on this map. I think GK, you know, probably allowed it through the banning phase, thinking we've seen them play it a lot, we've got the footage there, we've got a plan, you know, but plans rarely, you know, what is it? Plans rarely survive first contact with the enemy, and right now, that looks like the position that
we are right philosophers today. We're wheeling out so many one-liners. Can't help ourselves.
Virtus.pro very much proving that truth, and you know, you can have all the ideas, all the plans you want, but they are just better right now. Like I said, even it's like a game within a game to them. Even when you feel like you've got them, even when you feel like, yeah, we've pushed that player, we've got the kill, we've forced him into our line of sight, there's always then an answer on top of it. Upo does manage to take down Skies. Figaro off the board, that's going to be a nitro gone as well, so that's a big start. Good stuff for GK to build on.
It's a start, absolutely. But can they build on that? Because they're trying the similar thing again, where you've got Yarg, of course, being on the glass. You've got the smokes that have come out the back of it as well from Ask, who's now looking to, with one of those down, open up room for Yarg to get in. And sure enough, he is gun up. He is ready. Right idea from Roytless on the downstairs. There's a man waiting for him, and Groovy's rewarded with his second. Good work on the Bucks so far, and surely Team 5 versus 3 cannot be lost.
And it's again this working as a team for GK. They put Rorik in a lose-lose situation. He knew he was pushed from old tower, he was pushed from below, so he had to take a challenge on one of them. And it was, you know,
he's still laid down.
Going to be a difficult situation. I don't think they know about Naquo's position. Too easy for him. 3 versus 2 as Ask does manage to pick up the trade, but is the damage done as Virtus.pro got themselves a couple of kills. Yoga taken out. The glass going off the board again. Could be definitive.
They managed to recover the defuse now on the main breach, but can they rotate over and push in towards B instead? It feels like it might be the play. This just feels so high risk, but they're going to go for it as well. Hightail it into the corner. And now there is a real effort needed from Virtus.pro to be able to recover this. Temporarily got that 1 versus 2. Dan taking damage. Groovy, another in the round for him as he brings down Pasha. Down with it all to do. Sees the gun. Probably isn't even aware exactly of where Ask is. Off towards his left-hand side is the answer. But off the back of some brilliant play from Groovy, it feels like GK might have this one in the books.
Yeah, it really does. It's a great plant spot, is that one, if you can get access to it. You know, defensive teams need to make sure that they're keeping that one under lock and key as much as they can, because you see how difficult it is not only to prevent a plant going down once an attacker is in there, but also then to retake it. So a good round from GK. I love the play onto Rorik. It's that teamwork that I talked about. Put them in bad situations. Don't give them any opportunity to get away from it. He had to challenge down the bottom of the stairs because he was being pushed from both sides, but they were in the advantageous position. Look how difficult a challenge that is. Brilliant stuff from Groovy to get that kill, and then GK took their opportunities. They nearly threw it away with being unaware of Naquo's position, but otherwise, good stuff from them, and they get themselves one on the board, so it's 1-4.
Harvey, what the fuck?
Hackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
I mean, it's one Tim, but now we've got to find another as we go down to the offsite. If they can get 2 rounds on the board here, this will feel like a real recovery for them. And Virtus.pro will be scratching their heads given how dominant those first 4 rounds have been and how GK have really struggled through much of them as well. They did struggle here last time round, big time. It was more of a synergy issue that I spoke about. Players largely doing their own thing, not acting on a 3-2-1 countdown and then pushing in as a group. So that's what needs to tighten up for me if we're going to see GK come away with this round win here in the last one of the half.
4-2 have been absolute steal. I know we say this quite often, but honestly, Virtus.pro, a 5-1 feels like a steal for GK, to be honest, with the way those first 4 rounds have gone. But, you know, getting that last one, big moment for them, and maybe they have a little bit of an opportunity now, you know, to rescue something out of this half heading in towards the second. I expect to see them do better on defense, to be fair, but Virtus.pro going to do everything in their power to prevent that. Interestingly, when I look through the list, every round so far has gone in favour of the entry kill, so keep your eye on that one. Whoever picks up that first kill gives themselves a massive bonus when it comes to the probability of them winning the round. So far, Pasha has 3, Rorik has 1, Upor has 1. Pasha will make that 4.
Again, like a bit of caution, boys. Like, you've got a Grim, you've got excess drones with the Roteros, you've got Yogg on the Dockerby. We shouldn't be getting peeked at windows and shot out here. It just should not be happening. Granted, Tim, I will point your eyes towards the top left corner of your screen where the drone count is very low for GK. So clearly, they've lost so much during the prep phase and during the early parts of this round, likely to Pasha on that Solus, charging around, picking them up, that he's been able to capitalize on the back of that. But that's more full you than it is full Virtus.pro.
Vertical angle going to be opened up from above, but Virtus.pro have proven the last time they defended this site that they really don't mind giving up the verticals. They did a great job despite being pushed out of sight to still holding on, because ultimately, even though you can push the defenders out of sight as an attacker, you've still got to go into those rooms to be able to win the round. 1 minute 20 left on the clock. GK without a return kill now. 4 versus 5 is pretty much locked in at this point, and they're still trying to get a picture of exactly what they are going into. Upor is going to be downed outside of a window as well. Maybe he can be collected. I think he will be collected, so it's just about the time that wastes as well, though.
Now Upa's down as well. It's definitely an alternative angle push here as well. I like the approach they're taking towards it. Does ultimately all transpire in the same kind of push at the end of the day, but the one being down and Groovy having to go and recover him, now down to really Yogg all by himself on this side of the map. Virtus.pro is very happily going to dig in tight and just wait to see where the push comes from next.
Yeah, really important that he wins this fight on central stairs. He looks to go up there. Pasha manages to pick him up with the shotgun, and that is likely going to be the round. But here come GK. Upor on a fight back, manages to get skies. Pasha doesn't need to overpeak this. With 27 seconds left to go, it is possible to just force them to play the round. Upor on less than 20 health. Groovy on about half health. That'll be 50 for the Ash. Sees Pasha on the left-hand side, pre-fires him, finds the kill, 2v2, 10 seconds.
Problem is to go try and get the plant down this time or get both kills, and I don't think it's going to be so easy, not when a shotgun is stood ready and waiting for you to push in. Dan collects 1 for himself anyway, 6 and 2 he steps up towards here. Into our dying few seconds, Upa once again get a KD save. Second time this half you've seen that, Tim. And it will be Virtus.pro going up 5 and 1.
End of the round then, they managed to pick it up, Virtus.pro 5-1. And it was fairly comfortable for them towards the end.
But we'll go to the studio anyway. Off we go.
We keep on talking this night about responses that we need to see from a team. But then again, from Virtus.pro here, a 5-1 half on what is essentially the decider come down to a best of one is important because we're seeing a similar trend from Geekay as well, where they can't seem to fix the issues that they have.
Yeah, feels like deja vu, no? It feels like Lair again. The same story, the same problem of trying to problem solve basic extensions, and the same problem of players going one by one because they don't know how to go through the utility. First round, Mira, Azami, what do we see? Castle, Fenrir, everything that we've called all the strong operators that make this site so strong are the same issue. They cause problems. In that round, how many players have I seen going to Medic alone, one by one, into a doorway? It's been a consistent issue on the Shadow of Geekay, and obviously, I know Fortress is defender started, Jack. But I think they needed more.
I think they needed more as well, and I think really what we're seeing is, at the minute, we're seeing the benefit of the fact that VP won their map by a bigger margin than Geekay won their map because they got to choose the starting side. They got to set the tempo on this game by going defense on Fortress, causing all the same problems as we've just seen in the clips there, and really capitalizing on every single one of them. For Geekay, I'm really a little bit disappointed actually that there wasn't a lot of adaptation, that they were just falling for the same trap over and over and over again. Even that round 6 there. They've lost again to time. I kind of maybe would have wanted to see something a little bit more direct, something a little bit faster paced, maybe something a little bit cheesy, because ultimately, you know, they could have ended up in the same place either way. The big thing now is scoreboard pressure really does apply, because that's a 5-1 half. VP only need to now win tertiary sites on their attacks. They don't even need to win either of the primary bomb sites.
And at the same time, if there's one team that can come back, it's Geekay. I think after having fought the way they have, the entirety of the match, when they were down on Lair, you know, down 6-3, they never gave up. They were still having fun. They were still joking around. When they were also led with 4 different match points on Chalet, did they give up? No, they didn't. And they went back and came back. So I think they will have that mental ground for them.
I'm looking forward to seeing which shields get banned away from Nako right now. And I'm kind of liking this already, a clash ban. The reason I'm liking this is we've talked about the choke points, we've talked about the utility on the defense. Now, Nako's going to have 1 shield available. Absolutely. Monty's going to be banned. Probably a Blackbeard, I would imagine, which means he's going to have the Blitz available. That's a high impact operator. It's a high impact shield. It's a fast operator. If you're going to play anything fast, what do you want not against you? Probably a clash out of all the defender options there. So I like the ability to get rid of it. Oh, and actually they're giving the Blackbeard as well. But they've already got rid of the Warden as well, which means the Ying now comes into play.
I was thinking about the Warden because the fact that they're going to have the Blitz open and at the same time that they can play the Ying, which they've been abusing a lot, against the Warden ban, like it's perfect.
And again, scoreboard pressure. 2 rounds out of 6. If they're going to go fast, if they're going to go cheesy, if they're going to use the shields,
they can try things.
They can just try it and they can keep banging their heads against the wall because at some point you'd imagine 2 and 6 they will get.
Yeah, that makes me worried as well going into this one here. I mean, you talk about the big difference in rounds right now and the fact that Geekay has come back. But it makes you wonder how much fuel is there left in the tank? Really, how many map points can they come back from in the situation here? Geekay, you gotta give us anything to give us hope for the second half.
Do indeed. Thank you very much, Anne and the guys. It is a tall order, Tim. We look back at our previous maps. They were down 4-2 at the half on Lair, and they were down 4-2 on Chalet. They did manage to claw it back on one of them, of course, to an 8-7 win, but back on Lair, they lost out spectacularly, 7-3. The advantage is even bigger here, so I think it's quite understandable that we're quite nervous of their prospects of being able to fight their way back into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. They are now staring down the barrel of a matchup against Rebels in that bottom half of the bracket. But it is not over yet. It is absolutely doable. They just need to match or better what Virtus.pro achieved on their defense. If we have a look at Virtus.pro's attacking stats when it comes to Lair, across 27 rounds, they've only won 13, so they're at a 48% attacking win rate, which is not fantastic. It is enough to get the job done, I will say that, with a few spare rounds as well, but it does mean that maybe, just maybe, there could be something available for Geekay. So Virtus.pro have got themselves just opening up windows, doors, creating little bits of pressure. And it looks like they're going to be moving in towards that south side pretty soon.
Again, Stacey staying back in the first half. You've got to be wary of the window at all times as well, Virtus.pro. Nice use of the Candelas here as well to make sure no one can push into it. If they do, they're full flashed out, but it's more of a bait actually, Tim, because while all the focus is going on towards there and they're thinking, okay, breach is open, they're going to push in, they're rotating over entirely and hitting hard from the south side instead.
Out goes the mute jammer, and that's going to be, I think, Games and Dorms in their possession now. We can see
Easy,
Geekay have dipped themselves away. They don't want to be playing up into Naquo with the blitz there, so they're not going to fight that any longer. A presence on Courtyard as well from Virtus.pro. Look at this good forward progress. It's just taking a bit of damage there. Naquo needs to be careful with getting themselves into briefing here and getting aggressive. Virtus.pro, they know that there's one just peeking around the corner. It's the Goyo of Yupo that needs to be careful lest he lose his head when he has a look around. 1 minute 10 left to go, and time, we've talked about time endlessly almost for Geekay and how it's been a problem, but at times Virtus.pro have certainly cut it fine.
I mean, the nice thing is with the shield, you should be able to get control of briefing with relative comfort. They're still trying to force their way through here as smokes have been consumed and burnt out, but coming into the last 50 with 2 smokes in back pocket still. Ella to worry about. No more C4s admittedly to have to try and challenge your way through. There are still a couple of obstacles here that they've got to be wary of, so I hope to God Virtus.pro have got a good idea in mind. They've got no control of this part of the map, and this feels like a bit of a fool's errand to try and force control of Horse this late in the round.
Especially with Vulcan canisters to play through. Pasha manages to get one. Ask is there for the trade, and they're having to just take really difficult gunfights here, Virtus.pro. Like you say, it really is a case of trying to force a path rather than forge a path, and right now it's a 2 versus 3. 15 seconds left to go. Geekay looking good for their first defensive round, but here comes Naquo, 2 versus 1. He's got the support of Rorik. 9 seconds left to go. Is there an opportunity to put the diffuser down?
Wow.
They don't need to. Naquo putting the pistol to use. Beautiful shots. Closes out the round, and it's 6-1. 5 back-to-back series points now. Virtus.pro wasted 4 of them on Chalet. Will they get it done on Fortress?
I often say when the clock runs low, you as the attacking team are the ones being forced into making forced errors. Things that you don't want to have to do, but you have no choice. Not droning something, pushing in through gas, for example, taking unfavorable gunfights. But they've managed to make a 2 versus 3 there, with the final 2 players both on Horse, make that work out wonderfully. Here, look. I'm just baffled as to how they managed to lose all these gunfights as well. It's mad. Groovy misses some really crucial shots, and to be fair, I wouldn't expect Ash to win that closing gunfight against those final 2 players pushing into him. Really good stuff by Virtus.pro, a great recovery, and if they get this done as a 7-1, a more than deserved victory, I'd say they'll look back at Chalet and say it should have been done and dusted there and then, but they won't care because it means they're heading to EWC.
Yeah, they know it's not one of their maps, and they're happy to just get themselves onto Fortress and get it finished off, like you say, guarantee that qualification, and they can just kind of sit back and enjoy the rest of the playoffs. Whatever happens, happens. I'm sure they'll be looking to finish as high as they can. There's, you know, still SI points on the board. We can't assume there's only one team at the Esports World Cup that will qualify through to SI, so certainly can't guarantee that that's going to be you. They want to be securing as many points from a high placement in the playoffs as they can. Just have a look at exactly how that looks actually in terms of EML. So top spot will get 420, second is 300, third is 250, fourth is 200. So I would say moving in to the upper bracket final will guarantee you at least it should be what, a top 3 finish. So that's 250 plus, but there's still a lot to play for after that point. 170 SI points.
Yeah, it's going to make it interesting, isn't it? We were kind of speaking about it earlier on. Even DZ, who won the major, aren't locked into SI at this point, so it will be interesting for them going to EWC and seeing, of course, what they get away from that one. A guaranteed win isn't necessarily required for someone like DZ, given how many points they've got. They'll be fine off the back of stage 2. But other teams, like the ones that are watching now, are probably eyeing that up and licking their lips at the opportunity to get themselves locked in and not have to worry about their results in stage 2.
Keep a barricade, just keeping them at bay for the time being, but Virtus.pro eating through those pretty quickly. No entry as of yet, just having a look. That stat has continued, so every single entry has resulted in a round win so far in all 7 rounds. So keep an eye on which way that first kill goes. Toxic Babe Canister will go out just to try and slow things down. It looked a little bit shallow, did that, to be honest with you. You know, it wasn't down towards Old Tower, wasn't down towards the top of those stairs, and nobody was pushing that deep at that point, so not really sure how much value there was in that one.
C4 at the ready, just waiting until he hears the drops down, but there was no drops, no C4 to be secured at the back of that one for Yogg. I was praising him earlier on. He came in at 28 and 16 to this map. He's 1 and 7 so far, Tim. I don't want to point fingers because he's carried the last 2 maps for them and kept them competitive and equally helped them to get a win. But right now, he's not quite doing enough. Sky is getting one on towards Yupa. The 1-for-1 trade between the two. As we get towards this last 50, once again, we're going to find that Clock becomes an opponent here for the attackers.
Importantly, Rorik being taken down there stopped the plant as well. So Skies goes for it again, but as Naquo's taken out, he has to keep coming off here. The scan from the Soliton radar might just create the space that he needs. He knows where the push is coming from. Does he? Yes. Skies reacts, taken down though, 3 versus 2. It's up to Dan and Skies now to try and hold on. They've got about 30 seconds left to secure this one, to secure their position. But are Geekay going to just get on the diffuser here, Des?
Well, Dan's got to go nuclear, Tim. He's had a good map so far. But here he's got to basically win out a 1 versus 2 when they start trying to stick the diffuser. Ask will be the one that gets on it. Right choice if you ask me. Wins out towards 1. Looks for a second but can't quite find him. Starts, gets the collect. And Geekay hold on for at least 1 more round.
Yeah, it was all seemed a little bit like it was being kind of snatched at there for Virtus.pro. It was like they went in for that plant and they were in a 5v5. You know, they were really going for it, but the diffuser gets dropped, a player dies, and then Skies goes in and collects it, goes for the plant again, but he has to keep coming off. And every time he's coming off that diffuser, it's because somebody's died, but he keeps going back to it. And it feels like Virtus.pro really tried to force the issue on that one. They were 6-1 ahead. It's really not the end of the world, but yeah, definitely a tough one for them on the attack. We can just see Skies was blocked out by his own player at a point there as well. But yeah, I feel like they were never in enough control to get the diffuser down there. It was a nice retake from Geekay. As soon as they're in the 3v1, took the opportunity to get Ask onto the diffuser and close out the round. So 6-2, they fight back for 1 round at least. How long can they keep going for?
Not another 4, Tim. I'm sorry. Like, look, I'd love to be a believer, but that ain't me. It's just not in my DNA. I can't see a world where they manage to hold on for 4 rounds. I'd love to see it. I love an underdog story. But I just think at some point Virtus.pro are going to find what they need to get it over the line. Granted, last round they were pretty handily dealt with. Yes, they got the diffuser down, but it was quite comfortable. And in the prior, it required them winning a 2v3 that they shouldn't really have won. So, can Geekay do it? Given the previous 2 rounds? Yes. Do I think they will? Probably not. But I'll happily be proven wrong.
I love it when you're proven wrong, Des. So come on, Geekay. Let's.
Oh, shut up, Tim.
Let's keep him quiet. They're going to be the Virtus.pro this time attacking onto the bottom floor site, waiting room and cafe. Not too much for them in terms of verticality. They do have the hard breach charges if they want to open the hatch. They've got the Rotero drones. And I apologise, actually, I missed them. I'm on the right-hand side. Colours confused me for a second, so plenty in terms of verticality. They're bringing
you can't even use the excuse of, oh, well, I'm blind, am I right?
I know, it's if it was the left, it had been more acceptable. If they brought the RAM, they're going to be looking for top floor control. They're going to be looking for top floor control and to get those verticals, get the hatch open with the Capitane, get the smokes down, drop in with the blitz. That's going to be, you know, largely the whole play. It's too easy. They've absolutely... There's absolutely no idea that the blitz is in the room with him.
Yeah, that happened. I can't, like I said, Tim, I want to believe, but I just can't. It's against who I am as a person, and this is a bit too much to ask, I think. Maybe we just see Yupa go absolutely nuclear now. Why not? Now's the time to step up. And Yog, I've also said about him. He's been quiet on this map after having a really good series so far. Pressure's starting to build up, though, and here we go. Yog into a 1 versus 1, now flashed out as well. Well, this one, I think, is over and done with, Tim. They secure it with a flawless round. Virtus.pro are going to EWC.
Yeah.